It's time to roll, time to slay, time to loot. Grab your dice, ready up, let's go!
Welcome to the Prelude, otherwise known as Shadows Before the Storm. I'll start off. This is the beginning of the Chronicles of Celestria. It's a small mini campaign set in the year 1210 AC. I'll get into what that is in a minute, but basically set in a time before the main campaign, which will come up later on. So this is the world of Celestria. A realm forged in divinity, shaped by war, and bound by the threads of fate. Across its vast continents, kingdoms rise and fall like the turning of the tides, while magic weaves through the fabric of existence. Unseen by most, yet guiding all, the echoes of past ages still whisper through forgotten ruins and across endless skies, waiting for those who dare to listen. The year is 1210 AC, or after Convergence. It has been over a millennium since the great rupture between worlds, an event that tore the heavens themselves apart and forever changed the course of history. The skies cracked, the veil between the realms shattered, and rifts yawned open like great wounds in the fabric of very existence. From these breaches poured forth the unknown, beings from the astral plane, the Feywild, and even the depths of the Hells, forever altering the balance of power on the mortal plane. In the wake of the Convergence, magic itself was reshaped. Arcane energies once stable surged and twisted, birthing new wonders and horrors alike. Empires were forced to adapt, alliances were forged and broken, and the very foundations of civilization itself were rewritten in the shadow of a new era. The gods, once ever present, grew distant. No longer did they walk among the mortals, no longer did their will alone shape the fate of the world. It was an age of change, an age of mortals, an age where power belonged not to those who waited for divine guidance, but to those who dared to seize it. Now, upon the continent of Viridistra, the world stands at another crossroads. Whispers of unrest travel across the land like a storm on the horizon. Cities grow restless, kingdoms watch their borders with wary eyes, and in the wild places, ancient forces stir from their long slumber. Their purpose, unknown. But for now, the great wheels of fate turn unseen. For now, the world is quiet. Welcome, adventurers, to the world of Celestria. Our story begins not in the halls of kings, nor upon the battlefields of ancients, nor in the bustling streets of a grand city. Instead, we start our story in a place far older, a place where time itself seems to hold its breath. Within an ancient hall, a shrine said to be a conduit to converse with Azulara, the goddess of misfortune. The hall's towering pillars reaching up into the heavens, almost as if touching into darkness itself above. Shadows stretch long across the floor, and there's intricate carvings all around you. Clearly, this area whispers tales of long ages past. The air is thick with the weight of history, the silence broken only by the occasional flicker of sort of unseen magic in the air, shifting in what appears to be a sort of glow of ethereal or magical energies. And in this hall, something stirs. A single figure stands alone, a presence amidst the echoes of the past. Our story begins here, where we meet none other than our first character. Please, can we have you introduce yourself, Kalara?
Kalara Drakian kneels down on one knee, rolling a strange rock in her hand as she tucks it away into a hidden pocket. She's an Aasimar, bound by blood and devotion to Azulara, the goddess of misfortune. She's left her loving husband and newborn child to found a new order in the church, the Fellowship of Ruin. Kalara has lilac eyes, white hair, and pale skin. Her face is etched with a mark under her left eye, and her arms and waist have marks which glow with a purple light. She's wearing a black cloak with mail underneath and twin scimitars at her side.
Very nice. So Kalara, you're here in what you know to be a shrine of Azulara herself. It appears to you that this is quite a sort of ancient place. It looks as though it hasn't been touched for a long time, and in the center of the room before you lies what can only be described as a sort of water basin, almost like it's holding this water within it. What would you like to do?
Alara stands up and takes in the majesty of the space. She breathes in, centers herself, and walks towards this font of water.
Perfect. And as you begin to sort of approach this font of water, you catch what can only be described as sort of a flicker, almost as if the light that's streaking in just through the sort of cracks in the ceiling seems to sort of flicker off something in the water itself. You're not quite sure from where you are, but you sort of catch this glimpse of, it almost looks magical. The rest of the room is quiet. It's stone, marble arches look like they've been covered in sort of a coat of dust. It's obviously been almost untouched for some time. So yeah, that's what you see.
Well, Kalara will, she'll continue to approach the water. Does it look like it's okay for her to put her hand in there?
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to go up to it, but basically, yeah. Once you're there and you arrive to sort of the water basin itself, you see that the water is completely still, and yet underneath there's something that's sort of glistening. It almost looks as though the water is still, something is waving at the bottom, and it has a sort of glow to it. Would you like to investigate that, or would you want to sort of reach out for it?
Lara will. She says, "Is this a relic of yours, my ancestor?" As she reaches in to it, maybe not take the object out, but at least kind of make contact with it. She'll use the other hand that wasn't holding the stone, though.
Okay, so you have the stone in one hand, and you're
No, she's put the stone away.
Okay,
But she's still kind of keeping that separate from
gotcha.
from interacting with this.
Mm-hmm. Clear. As you reach in, your hand sort of touches the water to sort of reach down, and it's surprisingly warm to the touch. It's almost as though there's a sort of heat traveling through it. On first glance, the water doesn't seem to react as you put your hand into it. It's clearly there, but there's no ripples. It just sort of sinks through. And as you make contact with the item at the bottom, it's at this point where your hand begins to sort of wrap around what can only be described as sort of a page of a book. And it's in this sudden moment when the whole room lights up, and before you know it, you vanish with the item still clenched in your hand. And it's with that we will then jump to our next player. As you suddenly vanish from this hall, we jump to our next player, where we move to a very different scene. Here we have a sort of band camp of mercenary travelers out exploring an area known as Aethria. It is sort of a very sort of ancient land. It's known for sort of mystical energies and lots of air magic, as well as a lot of sort of travelers, mercenary groups, that kind of thing. And we have just exiting their tent first thing in the afternoon. You have a very tall golden dragonborn. And can I please ask that our next player, Drakenthal, please can you introduce to us your character?
You see a big golden dragonborn in full heavy armor, sword and shield always at his side, and kind of carries himself very proud and very, tall.
Very nice. And as you exit from your tent, you're actually in your hand. You're holding a sort of emerald, a green emerald gemstone. It's at this point where onlookers would be able to see, as you pull the tent door open, that there's all sorts of manners of sort of forges and magical artifacts strewn across the ground in your tent itself. It's clear that this is sort of a sort of jewelry forge sort of kits all around the place. But yeah, as you step out, it's at this moment, as you hold up this emerald, almost as if to sort of get a better look at it, that you notice in the corner of your eye, whilst you're holding up this gemstone, you notice that past you, ahead of you, there appears to be a sort of note. Almost looks like a piece of paper has been caught under a nearby campfire log. But what strikes you as particularly interesting is this piece of paper that seems to flicker in the wind rapidly, despite the gentle breeze. It's clearly glistening and shinier than the emerald in your hand. As you sort of look at it and look at them next to each other, it catches your eye. You can see it sort of glistening to you just outside your tent, as if caught under the log. What would you like to do?
Well, as it catches my eye, I will pocket the gemstone and just walk towards it, but also kind of looking around the camp if there's anyone around, because it's kind of a weird thing to see. And I reach down carefully and try and grab that piece of paper.
Perfect. As you do so, you move closer, and it strikes you just before you grab hold of this piece of paper. It strikes you that the camp is eerily quiet, and the only noise you can really hear is the sort of rustling of the paper as it sort of flaps in the wind. And as you reach towards it, it actually seems to calm down, almost as if it has an energy of its own. But surely enough, as you reach forward and grab hold of this piece of paper, as soon as you make contact, you put your hand around it, and once again, we have a player that suddenly disappears from the camp. And it's yeah, you suddenly disappear. We will come back to you in just a moment, but before we do, we move on to our next player. So on the next scene, we now have a interesting duo out doing the rounds. We have two familiar faces. It's currently raining in this area, as you see both. I'll let you describe them in just a moment, but you see there's these two people appear to be on a route to sort of do the rounds of a nearby town. It could be that they're related to the town. Please, can we have our third player introduce himself, please, as Flanagan. Welcome to the party.
Thank you. So you all see a small halfling man sat on the back of a gigantic owl bear as on a saddle as they're travelling along a roadside. You see Flanagan Thistlewick, a stocky 3'2" halfling. His years spent under the open sky have left him with a tanned skin complexion. He has sharp brown eyes and a keen understanding of the land. His shaggy, light brown hair tossles in the wind, framing his face alongside thick mutton chops that connect to a chin-strap beard. A strong, slightly oversized nose gives him a air of scrutiny, a feature that's helped him sniff out more than one brewing trouble in a town. Flanagan stands out amongst his fellow guardsmen because he is a town guard. And not just by his size, but the striking attire, he favours vibrant blues and greys, the colours of both the sky and steel. A representation of his life split between the wilds and the structured duty of a lawkeeper. A blue bandana is always tied around his head, a personal touch that speaks both of practicality and a bit of flair. Over his clothes, he wears a very well-worn but reliable set of studded leather armour, scuffed from years of use, yet still holding firm. And across his back, you see a short bow and a quiver of arrows, always ready to be used at a moment's notice. And then, like I said, besides him, you then have that towering figure, or should I say that he's mounted on, this towering figure that moves with surprising grace despite his hulking frame. It's his most trusted companion, Alfonso the Owlbear. A weathered but formidable owlbear. Alfonso is a sight to behold. His coat, a patchwork of brown and white feathers, dulled slightly with age, but no less magnificent. Those who look closely may notice a battle scar across his chest, a relic of some long past battle. And that's Flanagan and Alfonso.
Amazing. So Flanagan and Alfonso, two members of a faction that are responsible for sort of the safekeeping of towns and villages. You are currently actually on a patrol on the forest outskirts near the city, on a routine scouting mission for the protective coalition that you're part of, the Coalition of Free Cities. And as dusk begins to fall, you notice that despite the rain and you've sort of got the clouds coming over above you as well, it's clearly getting darker. But you notice in the corner of your eye that there's sort of what appears to be a shimmering page suspended midair near one of the ancient oak trees near the city, just down here as next to the water. It appears on first glance to have some sort of mysterious runes on it. The page, you can't make it out from here, but it has sort of a glow to it. Which is very, very odd in this part. You've done these rounds multiple times, and you've never seen anything quite like this.
Did you say it was suspended midair, like floating?
It appears to be suspended midair as if floating right next to this oak tree.
How high up are we talking?
I would say...
Because he's very short.
Probably about 4 foot.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I will steer on... Alfonso doesn't have reins, but he like grabs onto like his like thick coat, and he kind of just like gestures slightly towards him. Alfonso's head like rears up, almost doing the full like 180 like an owl does. It like starts to turn around and looks, and then it goes back, and I guide him towards the tree so that I don't have to dismount, but maybe I can just swipe it from his back.
Yeah, absolutely. And so is that what you do? You sort of tug slightly on I imagine, I guess they're like tufts of
feathers,
yeah, or hair, yeah.
So I grab them and like sort of like steer him towards it. Alfonso looks a little bit maybe perturbed at the fact that we're going off road for a moment, and then this shimmering page. Before just reaching out and grabbing it, Flanagan's a very cautious and observant man, so I think he would kind of like inspect it, and he'd just be like, Alfonso, any idea what this may be?
Alfonso,
these parts?
Alfonso just looks back at you, head again, 180 turn, as it sort of lets out almost like a cooing sound, a sort of at you, as you sort of see just its big eyes looking at you and then looking at the page. It's obviously, you've got a good relationship with Alfonso. Flanagan knows immediately that Alfonso also has no idea what this is, but can see the glow, and you can see the glow reflected in sort of his eyes. Given you have a passive perception of 19, I would say that you probably notice that around the page itself, you have sort of it almost looks like a shimmer, which You can't tell if it's connected immediately, but the shimmer is slightly purple in color. But do you grab to sort of touch this?
I think in a hilarious, maybe unforeseen circumstance that's about to happen, Flanagan is very cautious of taking things that he doesn't know what's his. But as he like looks at it, he goes, "There be words on this," and he like pokes it. And as he pokes it with his finger, I assume something happens.
As soon as you make contact with the page, it almost wraps around you. It sort of, rather than you touching, as you sort of touch the page, it sort of folds on you, and it's at this point where it sort of folds, and you're pulled through what can only be described as almost like a portal of sorts, as you, as well as the others, also disappear. It's at this stage where we move on to our next player. I think you guys are picking up a theme here. But we move on to our next player, where we have none other than a well-traveled adventurer. As we have, for the first time, more than one NPC on the screen. We have 3 NPCs. We also have what you can see is sort of a tower of... it looks almost like a wizard's tower. You've got an owl in the back perched on what looks like sort of a desk of sorts. You've got 2 mage wizards standing there. Looks like they're just putting away their coin pouch. Obviously something's just happened here. By the door you have a sort of halfling, sort of older, grizzly looking halfling gentleman who looks as though he's about to head outside the doors here. And last but not least, you do have in the middle our 4th player. Please can I kindly ask Caruth, would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure. Yeah, when you look at Caruth, you see a slender but athletic looking figure. His skin has this sort of yellow-greenish color as you would expect from a Githyanki. She has these piercing yellow eyes, and her dark hair is braided down into like 2 warrior-style braids. And she has these sharp angular features in her face and kind of a lack of a nose, as you would expect a normal one to look, giving her sort of an otherworldly expression. She wears a sleek, well-crafted armor with a mixture of chainmail and plates with a faint Githyanki carving all over it. On her hip rests a well-worn longsword in a leather hilt for quick access. To most, she seems cold, distant, and impossibly self-assured. Perhaps whatever mission she just finished has put her in an even worse mood.
Thank you very much for introducing your character. I would say that the scene you guys are seeing right now is having completed a quest with your adventuring party, Caruth. You begin to sort of pack up your bags to get ready to leave the tower, and it's at this point where your colleague, your sort of almost, I would say he's sort of like your ride in a way, your sort of carriage driver. Beryl then says to you, I'll be in the carriage with Sledge and the others, as he heads outside. God, I don't know where Osman has gone, but oh well. And you can sort of hear him muttering him to himself as he heads, all the way to the carriage outside. It's at this point, whilst you're packing away your things, you've just been handed a coin purse of sorts from the wizards that you've helped with this quest. You've just come to the end of your quest with your current adventuring party, and it's at this moment where you turn to leave and notice that exactly where Beryl was walking appears to be a page on the floor. What's strange to you is that this page, rather than it just sitting on the floor, it sort of shoots up and begins to float by the front door. As you turn back to look at what the others are doing, they're clearly in discussion of what's just happened, maybe trying to sort out their finances, and clearly distracted. You've already said goodbye to them and you're about to head out, but before you stands this page that sort of pulses with a power, and at first glance, Caruth, it appears as though the words you can see on it may be Githyanki. What do you do?
She would walk closer towards it, if it is floating at my eye height, and just look at it.
Yep. And as you look at it, you can see now it definitely looks like Githyanki, but it's almost as if the words themselves are getting smaller as you get closer.
Right. She just looked behind her, and if no one's watching, I think she just try and snatch it up. They don't need her Yankee stuff here.
They don't need the sort of the like a text that's in front of you. They wouldn't understand that. So is it at
No,
this
it's
point
fine.
that what would you do with it at this stage?
I think she just try and snatch it, to be honest. I don't know
Okay.
what's going to happen.
As you snatch towards it, you grab it, and without even saying a word, without a single sound, you are immediately teleported through a portal. And I would say that, although you're not there to witness it, the NPCs in the room, they haven't even heard it, but the door slammed shut. It's at this point where we move on to our next player. A very different scene. Here before you, we find amongst what appears to be almost ruins, you have sort of a sort of what looks like a graveyard with a shrine in the center. It's clear that something has brought a player here. But before I introduce sort of why you're here, how you got here, this area, this misty area with sort of dark trees towering around you, a graveyard of sorts with what could only be described as mystical looking pools of... This area reeks of death, but the pools have an otherworldly energy about them. As you stand on this sort of platform with the shrine before you, we have 4 statues in each of the corners. This is obviously a crypt or some form of shrine, and I suppose, without further ado, please can I kindly ask our good friend Gamma to introduce himself, please.
A brown feathered Allen with small patches of white feathers, with an orange yellowish set of eyes, Gamma Corvus, wearing quite worn leather armor and leather gauntlets that give the impression of a trained warrior, a blue scarf hanging around his neck that can also be used as a hood to help him blend into crowds and in cold environments. Wearing a lovely silver necklace with a willow tree imprinted. 5'9" in height, appears to be mid-30s with a look that some may even say has a resting angry face.
Ah, a resting angry face, I'm familiar.
Yeah.
Yes, I would say that Gamma, you would know that you're on a quest. You're tracking clues and you're seeking out a way to overcome some of your demons. You're currently searching ruins for what can only be described as sort of a magical artifact. And it's at this point, as you arrive to this ancient pedestal, where before you lies a sort of shrine / crypt. It's clearly got a wooden tablet on the top of what can only be described as almost like a long stone body. This could be a chest, but given that you're in a graveyard, it could very easily be a coffin. So please can I kindly ask, what is it that you do next?
Well, Gamma is not one to just wait for answers or wait for something to happen. He's gonna open up the thing in front of him.
As you sort of shift the wood off the top of this this container, before you see it looks as though a body has been wrapped and placed in here, but next to the body lies a simple dagger. It looks rusted and worn. You can see that there's not much to this sort of area. What you're seeking, what you've been looking for, this isn't necessarily what was promised, but it's at this moment when you see amongst the belongings along the side of the coffin, so to speak, is a bunch of notes and letters, pages, books, perhaps favored by this long deceased person. You notice that there is a glowing page which is almost in a scroll. It's got sort of a ribbon around it with a little emblem on it. The emblem itself doesn't have any resemblance of anything you would be familiar with. It's basically a page that's been rolled up, tied with a ribbon of red and sort of dark purplish colors, and it appears to glow. What would Gamma do?
At first, I think he would try to gather the notes of the person within the coffin before touching the glowing thing, because he has no idea what that is.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna grab the notes. He's not gonna skim them yet. He's gonna put them in a little satchel he probably carries on his hip.
Can I have you roll a D5 for me, please?
Oh, let's go.
Or D6. Let's go D6.
A D6. Okay, a lot easier.
Wow.
A
Okay.
6.
So you actually pick up a total of 6 different notes, a bundle of six different notes, all with various different types of handwriting. But before you still sits this glowing scroll-like page.
And man, he doesn't like the magical stuff. He would very hesitantly reach out and probably just try to kind of see if it reacts to anything. So he's gonna try to like push it with his finger. Try to see what happens.
Yeah. Okay. As you touch it, it doesn't react. It sort of just moves like a normal piece of paper would. You sort of poke at it with a single pointing finger, and you can just see that it just moves the way you'd expect it to. It just sort of shuffles along. But you do notice that the ribbon appears to get tighter.
Tighter.
What do you do?
Seeing it just get pushed, you probably then go in to reach for it and grab it. I mean, he's very desperate for information, so
you put your hand around it?
Yeah, he put his hand around it.
As you put your hand around it, it's at this moment where you are suddenly grabbed and teleported through a portal. You disappear. Purple lights shoot throughout off this pedestal, and anybody who would be standing here notices that the eyes of the 4 statues around you, which appear to be almost gargoyle-like in nature, they all have a sort of purple glow over them as well. And it's at this stage where we move on to our next player. Another very different scene. As we zoom in, anybody who wants to have a look, we have a very sort of neat, tidy, clean, what appears to be sort of a well-kept, well-mannered workshop of sort of enchanted looms and spellbound tapestries. Amid all of this sort of quiet little workshop, so to speak, we have a very busy-looking person. As we have our next player, please can I kindly ask Sienna, our Celestar, to introduce herself, please?
Yes, you see before you a middle-aged lady with pointed ears, high cheekbones, mint green long hair with a little bit of braids in it, small wrinkles around the eyes, and the peculiar silver eyes that are so characteristic of her race, the mysterious Celestar. She has a little bit of a haughty face and wears richly embroidered burgundy robes that signify that this lady is anything but poor. But her worn working gloves and her tool belt gives away that she works with her hands rather than sit idly like most nobility. And she's currently, she's weaving, she's taking notes, and basically patiently waiting for night to fall.
Perfect. Thank you very much for introducing your character. And Sienna, as you're sort of taking notes, you're absorbed in your craft. You've got tapestries all around you. You're used to sort of seeing these sort of magical tapestries which you've created, you've sort of developed. They're all around you. Your work is clearly important to you, and you're sort of in a shrine of it, if you'd like. I would say that whilst you're sort of mid taking these notes, it's all of a sudden that you realize there's a tranquil sound normally in your home when suddenly for the first time you hear what almost appears to be a rattling sound coming from, you suspect, the room next door, which has a bunch of sort of paints and inks that you've used for your art. And I would say that you just hear sort of a rumbling of clattering of jars banging against each other. What would you like to do?
I think she would immediately assume that it's some I mean, in the tools she uses, there's all kinds of mechanisms and stuff like that. I think she'd immediately just assume that something like a cog just jammed or something, and so she just gets up and takes a look.
Okay, so she walks in to have a look. Cool. As you step up to go have a look, you sort of walk through the doorway, and you see it looks as though you've put on, you have sort of a shelf that's about eye height to you, and you see that on the shelf you've got all sorts of ink pots and magical sort of, as you said, sort of cogs and instruments that you've used to sort of create your artwork. You notice that with this, there's actually what appears to be a note in sort of an envelope shape, which is basically shaking like sort of up and down on both sides. It's rattling the whole shelf. It looks very active, which is not something you're used to with your tapestries. It's very much shaking and moving very quickly, and it's an envelope.
Well, I guess she's gonna pick it up.
Okay, as you pick up the envelope, it suddenly stops moving, but you feel the sort of the close of the envelope have a sort of cold breeze through it as it opens up, and out comes sort of a piece of paper which is folded, and it sort of slides out. You're very unfamiliar with this kind of magic. It has, you would know, being familiar with sort of astral energies from the astral plane, the sort of energy is not dissimilar. The magic that's there is not dissimilar to stuff that you're familiar with. And it's at this point where you see before you, as you hold this envelope, the letter sort of slides out, folded. You'd have to open it to see what's written on the inside. And through the page, you can see what appears to be almost ink written. It looks as though there's letters or words on the other side, but you'd have to open it to see what's written.
She would definitely open it, yeah.
And as you sort of open up the page, you sort of lift it with one hand. The envelope in your other hand, which is held onto, doesn't join you, but you are suddenly ripped from where you are through a portal as it opens up, and anybody who's around here would just see this sort of envelope sort of glide down slowly as it touches the floor and dissipates. And it's at this point where we have our final player join the fray as we move to another very peaceful area. We have, out deep in meditation in what can only be described as sort of a quiet grove, a large furbolg gentleman. Can I please kindly ask, Bramble, would you mind introducing your character to us, please?
Of course. Looking upon Bramble, he is meditating now, but you can see a towering figure, a gentle furbolg standing at 7'3", with a presence that is both calm and steadfast. His skin, color of birch tree, is soft yet thick, with patches of mossy green along his arms and neck, almost as if nature itself has left a mark on him. His features, gentle but stern, with high cheekbones, a wide peaceful face, and his face is steady, composed, as he is always listening to the wind, a quiet hum in the world, to voices that others often overlook. His golden eyes, they catch the light like the morning through a forest canopy, filled with quiet wisdom beyond his years, and framing his broad face is a cascade of long, deep red hair. Two thick braids run past his shoulders, woven with strands of nature itself, small beads of polished wood, tiny feathers gifted by passing birds, and the occasional sprig of dried herbs. He wears a faded green tunic over a white shirt and simple earth-tone pants, woven from natural fibers that allow for effortless movement. Draped over his broad shoulders is a cloak, unlike any other, woven from the leaves of ancient trees. And around his neck, a wooden talisman hangs from a leather cord, its surface worn smooth by time and touch, a gift, a memory, a tether to the teachings of his mother.
Very nice. Thank you very much for your description. And I just picture this sort of hulking, gentle giant kind of energy coming from him. He's obviously one with nature. And it's at this moment where we find Bramble initially with his eyes closed, sitting in what can only be described as like a stone circle. Bramble, you would know that this is what the sort of the monks in your region refer to as the stone circle of Terra. Terra May, it's referred to, which is basically the earth around you. The sort of the area that you're from is very much one with the earth itself, and people come here to pray and also be one with nature, meditate. And as you say, you have all sorts of animals coming in and out and dropping by. What you feel as you sit here meditating is nothing more than a gentle breeze. It's sort of like a cool, calming breeze. As the sun begins to sort of set behind you, you feel at peace, and yet suddenly you begin to hear what is almost like a rustling on the wind. You can sort of feel an energy that you're not familiar with, something that's not from this area, not from this place. Do you do anything? Do you stand up to investigate where it could be coming from, or do you remain in meditation as you feel it sort of to your left in the distance?
Bramble remains in meditation, but he's trying to reach out with his mind to the left side. Like I feel something is there, so he's trying to reach out with his mind to see if he can detect anything further.
So I imagine you're sort of sitting with your arms, your hands on your knees, legs crossed in the stone circle, and you can sort of feel it on your left. And as you try and focus on it, you realize that it's a lot closer than you're familiar with, or you first thought. It's almost as if it's getting closer to you. And it's at this moment when the wind begins to pick up, as you suddenly feel a page of a piece of paper carried by the wind sort of smacks you in the face as you're sort of meditating. It sort of hits you. It's not hard, but it does catch you on the face, and it sort of sits on your face. And at the moment you're meditating in focus, but you do have a piece of paper that's just being pushed against your scalp by this wind. Do you do anything to remove it, or?
First of all, I whisper like, "Not now, Rufus. You know I'm in meditation."
And as you say that, the wind sort of slows down, and the page just drops into your lap. It's sort of, again, very similar to what the envelope did earlier. It sort of slides down into your lap, and you hear sort of like a brush against your brown trousers that you're wearing, or leggings.
And I was expecting something back from Rufus, who is just like a squirrel living in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously Rufus is not here. So I will open my eyes to see what eventually has hit me. And I guess I see the page.
You do see the page. So it literally smack at, like between your legs is a piece of paper that's clearly what landed on you. And it appears, from what you can say, can I quickly ask, Bramble can read, correct?
He can read, yes.
Perfect. Bramble sees on the page what looks to be his name, and also Rufus written on it. That's what you see as you look at this piece of paper. But you can't quite work out what it says below that. It's like small text.
I will pick it up.
Okay.
And I'll try to read it.
As you go to grab it and sort of lift it up, you lift it up to your face, so almost to peer into it, and you sort of feel yourself get sucked into the page. And it's at this moment where we suddenly find all of you in the middle of what I can describe to you as a gentle meadow. Now that we've had all of our players introduce themselves, welcome everybody. You all find yourself suddenly in the middle of a town. Around you are townsfolk walking from place to place. there appears to be a sort of building in the center in front of you. You're almost dropped right in front of this building. It's got a sort of red roof of what appears to, at first glance, you think it's brick. It's almost brick color. But on closer inspections, those of you who are interested, you can see that this is actually wooden. It's wooden with that sort of brick red color. You've got the smell of fresh flowers and leaves around you. This is, I will tell you now, you're in the middle of spring bloom, which is one of the earlier months in the year. It's a beautiful time. It is a very peaceful town, but the NPCs around you, the other characters, the people that you sort of see in front of you, no one seems to notice you. They're all very much doing their own things. What you do notice is that there's 7 of you stood here, of all different races, shapes, and sizes, including Alfonso, by the way, the giant owlbear, and all of you appear to have in your hand a piece of paper. What do you do? Before you lies a building with this sort of, I'll just say this quickly before I let you go into it. Before you lies this building, and it's sort of it's clearly a larger building than those around you. You can see that at the top it says the Wallowed Shrine, which is for those of you who have been to a tavern, you would probably assume this is one, but you have no idea where you are. It looks as though this is a very green foresty area around you, and you're stood in the middle of a spring meadow. What do you do?
My goodness, it's absolutely massive. How?
Oh, he doesn't. Don't worry, he don't bite. As I ruffle the head of Alfonso.
I'm sorry. Who are all you people?
Who did this?
I
Could
was
ask you
going
the
to ask
same
you same
question.
thing.
Ooh.
Are
Flanagan's
you
smile.
telling me you
paper.
Ishtik just got here too?
Well, I can inform you that I wasn't here 10 minutes ago.
It seems that way.
Did you all also get an invitation? And just waved.
You mean
paper?
this scrap of paper?
What does
Can
it
we
say?
look at
Sadly
the piece
counts
of
as an
paper?
invitation,
Yeah.
but okay.
Do you guys look at the piece of paper?
I would
Yeah.
like to look at my
Yeah.
piece of paper.
Okay. For those of you who do look at your piece of paper, it says in clear writing, it says the Wallowed Shrine. For anybody who's reading.
Can I roll a religion check on the Wallowed Shrine?
You can definitely roll that, yeah?
While they're doing that, I think Gamma's he looked at it and he's like, okay. And he's gonna head right on into the tavern and
So you
see
just
if he can get a drink.
You just leave the others and head into the tower.
He just kind of gives the others a look, and then he looks towards the door to this tavern and goes, I'm gonna go have a drink. And he just
Okay.
kind of walks in.
Okay, so
Before he goes, I'm shouting, "Little bird, the forest is the other way."
so you're talking to the creatures in the air. You're talking to the owlin.
I'm talking to Gamma. I
Okay,
don't know
cool.
who's Gamma, but that owl, it's an owl.
Mhm.
I'll advise him.
So you're advising him to go to the forest, and I will say, going back to Kalara, your religion check with a 7, you don't recall anything. You've heard of lots of different shrines. None of them are wallowing. So you're not sure what that refers to, but you do know that as you're looking at the page and you sort of put your head back up to try and think about this and you're pondering, in front of you it says on this tavern, the Wallowed Shrine, in plain text. Yeah. What are the rest of you doing?
Well, this guy seems to know where he's going.
Well, there do be a door in front of us, so there's not. We could go that way, and I point towards the vast field or whatever there is.
There's a forest on your left, and there's a wide open meadow on the right that just seems to
I
go
just
on
point
forever.
to the meadow,
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. You just point out to the meadow.
and I'll sling a leg over and I'll desaddle off of Alfonso and drop a good 4 feet as I then
As you do so, Alfonso sort of just shakes as if to ruffle his feathers. You know the way a dog would after it gets wet on a beach or something, and it sort of shakes its fur. Alfonso basically does that as almost to sort of shake off what was ever left of the dust or leather from his saddle as well. Cool. So what are you guys doing next?
Well,
Well, I have had a god-awful day, so I'm going to get a drink.
So
Yeah,
Karuth, you start to head
I
on.
Anyone
agree that-
coming? I have gold.
that was quite a rush, and I guess we hear the name is Dragonthal, and he just walks in. Yeah.
Cool.
That's a good-looking dragon. But
So we have, at the moment, we've got Gamma who led the way in first, and Karuth, you're sort of going on in. Drakenthal, you've actually told other people your name, which is a good way to start, and you're now following Karuth in as well. Flanagan, what is it you're doing? You're waiting for everyone to make a
Flanagan's
decision.
hands on his hips, looking up at everyone, speaking, because he's so much shorter than everyone. And as he's like taking it all in, he just turns, he goes, "Don't worry, sir. I'll make sure we get to the bottom of this one." As he looks towards Alfonso and then looks back towards the group and says, "Well, I guess a tavern has people, don't it? Maybe we should get acquainted. Flanagan Thistlewick." And then he just starts his little feet are like tapping away at the ground before him as he then starts very fastly walking towards the tavern.
Alfonso, as you introduce yourself and then start to walk off, Alfonso also looks to you and looks to the rest of you and appears to sort of nod his head down, almost like a light bow, and then just roars. Just and then follows Flanagan in, as if to introduce himself. And he also sort of stumbles behind you towards the tavern. What are the rest of you doing?
Kalara giggles a bit to herself at this point, smiles and just says, "My name is Kalara Drakian, and I suppose we'll find the answers inside." And she'll follow them in.
Cool. Perfect. Bramble.
over at this lady next to me, like, "It's better to do introductions inside because I can tell you my name, but the rest, they won't know my name. So I'm going inside. Are you staying out here, or?"
Sienna, we have you standing currently in the meadow by yourself with Bramble.
Yeah, I'm distracted by probably some kind of flower that I have never seen before, and like, oh, this might be an interesting new dye color, but well, seeing as well, I'll just go now. I'll just quickly without even attempting any sort of introduction. I'll just perch myself right up and I'll go inside as well.
Perfect. Cool.
Seeing
So,
her look at that flower, can I do a nature check to investigate the flower to help her
you
understanding
can-
the flower?
You know what? You can definitely do a nature check to try and understand what this flower is.
14.
Okay, actually, with a 14, you would know that this flower is a purple flower. It is a viridian, it's known as a viridian bloom, part of Viridstra's natural blooming flowers. So you can actually tell once you've done this, that this flower is most commonly found in Verdantara, which is part of Viridstра. It's sort of known as the sort of elven cluster of forests to the north of Viridstra. But yeah, you found a Vermilion
City?
Viridian, yes, Vermilion City. That's where we are. We're here to take on the gym leader. No, we find this flower, you know what it is, and you know where you are. But
I'll
yes.
relay all the information to her and then see what she does about it. I'm going in.
Perfect. So everybody now has entered the tavern, and I will take you over to the tavern screen in just a moment. Bear with me. The very first person to enter the scene, we have Gamma. As you step through the door, before you lies a very warm tavern. It's quite full of people, but most are keeping to themselves. In a very strange turn of events, you sort of hear what appears to be bard strings being plucked, but you don't see any around you. there is a loot on one of the tables, and I suppose with your passive perception of 15, you would know that that is where it's coming from. It's coming from the left side of the room where this loot is just on the table. It almost seems to be playing itself. It's very, very eerie. There we
I
go.
can see
Oh,
it.
something.
I see it.
Cool.
Yeah,
Everybody's
you can see
back in. Nice. Okay. Cool. We'll backtrack a bit, but basically, before you, Gamma, you see a tavern. It's got quite a few people in here. It's fairly quiet. In the corner of the room, there's a fire lit up. It keeps you. It's sort of the main noise you can hear. There is a lute on the table to your left that appears to be playing a little bit of music. It's very quiet, and it seems to be playing itself. You have a lot of tavern goers in here who are sort of sitting down with steins of beer or lager on their table, and you've got people enjoying food, but they're all very quiet. The one sort of louder conversation you can hear coming from the bar, where we can see a fairly big gentleman talking to a very small gentleman behind the bar. But yeah, Gamma, as you enter first, what is it that you do?
I'll take a quick look around the room, see if anyone's like, I don't know, maybe they knew we were coming and they knew a bunch of random people be walking in. So if someone was like, I don't know, already looking for us or something. But if no one looks like they've, noticed us or, make any move, Gamma will just kind of wander his way up to the bar itself and try to get a drink.
Perfect. Yeah, sounds good. You can move your token to where you would go to. As you look around, can I ask you to do a perception check, please, to see if you see anybody that looks like they've been awaiting you. So with a 7, you wouldn't actually notice anybody seeming expectant of you. The only person who sort of sees your presence as you walk in through the door, there's a little bell that rings as you open and close the door. The only person who sort of turns to look at you really is the bartender, who appears to be this sort of very grey beard, little pointed hat that sort of has a bend at the top. He's a little halfling man that appears to be trying to serve beers but struggling to reach a lot of the steins. This is you can tell immediately, despite you only rolling a 7, you can tell that this is an elven tavern, and a halfling can't really reach all of the things with ease. So he's struggling a little bit there, but he's got his hands full and he seems purposeful. But he clocks you as you walk in, and you make eye contact with him before you reach the bar. As you step to the bar, I will say that the next person to come in would probably be, would it be Caruth? Caruth, probably. As you sort of lead on through. Caruth and Drakenthal, I will say that you come in together as you were very close to one another. As you sort of both enter the tavern and see before you a very similar sort of picture to what I described with Gamma, where it's an open tavern. What do you do?
I will just kind of walk into the room, look around, try to check where the little owl person went, and see if anyone's looking at us, because we were particularly summoned to this place.
So I would say that as the two of you enter, actually, can I have you both roll a perception check for me, please? To see what you see as you come in.
24.
With 24, yeah. And
Nat
one. So, Caruth, you're oblivious. You just step in. You've got you're sort of doing your thing. Drakenthal, as you enter, you can tell that the whole tavern. It was clearly quiet as you were entering, but the whole tavern seems to have gotten a little bit quieter, because they've all clocked that right now a Githyanki and a Dragonborn have just stepped into this tavern, which is very out of place for this area. They obviously don't seem to be focused too much on what's happening at the bar, but the two of you have really drawn attention, especially because the Dragonborn is almost gleaming, and the armor that you're wearing, Caruth, is also very loud, and you are very out of place here. But yeah, what did the two of you do?
Well, if there's no one sticking out in particular, I would just kind of walk over to the bar as well.
Do Do you both head over to Gamma's area? Caruth, are you...
Yeah.
Cool.
If I walk up there, I think I would spot the big empty table to our right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She would just go up to the bartender and say, a big tankard for, I don't know, 10 people on that table, please. And just slam down 5 gold.
Okay, so you actually go to the table and you slam down 5 gold pieces. But
I
will say, before we do that, we'll bring the others into the scene first, where we have, if we just jump to... Who would be next? Someone remind me.
Kalara?
Kalara, you're coming on in next. We'll say
Flanagan.
We'll say that Kalara comes
Flanagan
in.
next. Flanagan next.
I thought I came in after Kalara.
No, you came in first, and I giggled and followed you.
I'd say that you two probably come in together. Interestingly, Alfonso also follows you in.
You're right.
He does fit through the door, so no reason not to. You can tell that as soon as you step through, Flanagan, nobody really bats an eye. But then all of a sudden you sort of say hello, and everybody turns, and everybody's sort of like, whoa. They're looking at you like, what the heck? And you realize very quickly. Actually, you know what? Let's have you roll a wisdom saving throw.
Me?
Yeah.
A wisdom saving throw?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. That one. 18.
Okay, yeah, you beat it. But basically, you realize immediately that the people coming in, the people who clearly a little bit shaken by this, it's not at you that they're worried about. It's Alfonso behind you, and they're clearly very afraid of this owlbear who suddenly walked into the tavern.
No. My name is Flanagan Fizzlewick. We're here on coalition business. Have no fear. We're here part of the coalition. The coalition of free cities. We're here to protect the townsfolk. Don't you worry about a thing. Me and good old Alfonso here, he's a veteran. He technically outranks me. Anyway, should we go get a drink?
As you...
This Kalara giggles again.
So you're just giggling behind.
She's kind of got her hand over her face and just giggling at the situation next to her.
Cool. I would say that everyone around you sort of has a sort of, it's like a relieved, and they sort of go back to what they're doing. But as you mention the Coalition of Free Cities, you see at the bar next to Caruth and Gamma and Drakenthal, you see this hulking gentleman turn to you. At first glance, he's a very big, very bulky, strong-looking Minotaur gentleman who appears to have what you would know as the Coalition of Free Cities badge on his lapel. He's wearing sort of silver armor as like a tunic. It doesn't quite look like scale mail. It's more like somewhere between chain. It's probably some adapted chainmail is what you see. But yeah, you can see that this guy has a emblem, and he sort of clocks you as you come in, and Alfonso, and he sort of looks to see who else is behind you. Do you head in?
Kalara will actually use the opportunity when everyone turns around to kind of look at Alfonso. Above the kind of hand that she's using to cover her giggles, she just tries to see if there's anyone who looks less surprised who might be expecting us.
Can I have you do a perception check for me, please?
Yes.
You don't see anybody looking expectant of you. Again, I would say the bartender is sort of... He's definitely clocked this, but he's more focused on Alfonso coming into his tavern. And then he gets on with the work that he was doing. He doesn't seem too phased after you've heard Flanagan explain that he's part of the Coalition of Free Cities. But the two of you and Alfonso, do you head into the bar? Do you go over to...
Yeah, I'll pitch Alfonso up over here so he's out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go stand behind Caruth, because she seemed
perfect
in charge.
Perfect. And Kalara, you join them as well. Very
yeah,
nice.
she'll stand back a little bit, just again still observing the scene.
Cool. And I would say that it's at this stage where you hear the doorbell, the sort of bell on the door jingle another time as Sienna and Bramble, you both enter the tavern as well and see before you people looking a little bit horrified and then turning back again to get back to their food. They look again as if expectant of something scary and horrifying. But yeah, the two of you sort of squeeze in through the door together. What do you do?
Seems we were not what they expected. Oh well. I'll just go over to where the rest seems to be congregating, and I guess I'll sit on this little chair here. I mean, I'm a little bit distant from everyone, but
Yeah, that's fair. And Bramble, yourself?
Bramble's very happy that they don't look up to a 7'3" big guy coming in. That's quite normal. So I just like go in. I nod to some people like hello, 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 and I just follow the rest because those are the first familiar faces I see in this establishment.
Perfect. And they all sort of nod to you. You feel, I would say, Bramble, that as you sort of introduce yourself, you sort of say hi to people. They are actually quite friendly. These people. You've got there appear to be more dwarves than anything else, but they're actually quite civil. They're very sort of friendly, and they say, "Oh, hello, welcome on in." Yeah, and I would also mention, just to clarify, because we've had both an owlbear and a furball come through the door. The door itself is massive. It's like a double door, almost if you can picture sort of a large wooden circle that you would expect on like an ancient temple or seal. It's like a sliding door of wood. So it's a huge hole. It's almost like you've stepped into a cave here. It's quite a large tavern, as I described it, as quite a big building in the area. But yeah, now that all of you have arrived, you hear Caruth slam these coins on the table. And Caruth, what is it you say? Sorry.
Just want a big tankard for all of these people. Maybe 10 people's worth. And glasses.
Oh, well, of course, we can get you that right away. If that's it's 10 of you, because I only count 7. Or unless he's having a few, and he points at Alfonso and goes, "Oh, do you like a drink, mister?"
No, you can't forget him.
Alrighty.
A bowl, then, as well.
A bowl?
Look over to Flanagan.
Yes,
big one.
A big bowl, yes, of course. Okay, so we can get that for you right away. Is it just the regular ale? We do have right here. We have a whole range of ales. We also have some of our finest. You can try the Golden Mist Ale is one of our preferences. It comes from the Golden Mist Valleys here in the area. Would you like some of that? My name's Arlen. I'm your barkeep today. If you'd like anything. And sorry, sir, I'll come right back to you. As you see, the Minotaur looks a bit. So almost frustrated that he's been overshadowed by all these people coming in. So yeah, he sort of goes out and takes this. That'll be 5 gold for the lot. If you're going with the Golden Mist, it is normally a gold a piece because quite an expensive ale, but especially when you're filling a bowl of it. But 5 gold would do. As he sort of nervously puts his hands together. Arlen, by the way, I described him previously. You can see that he's about Flanagan's height. Flanagan, you know immediately this is a halfling who may even be from your area. You do have halflings all over, but yeah, he seems quite friendly. He seems familiar.
How tall's the bar?
The bar is about 3 foot. He's about 3'5". He has to sort of pull himself up to see you.
I probably don't even realize he's a halfling at this point because I literally can't see him.
Perfect. I'd say there's a stool behind the bar that he probably has to clamber up onto to see you. But the two of you sort of look at each other over the bar. What are you guys doing at this stage whilst he's getting your drinks prepared? Is anyone asking anything, doing anything?
So what is going on exactly? Are we doing shots now? Well, like, it's lovely to meet you, but I got this pamphlet, and now we're here.
I cannot say for sure, but I've had the shittest day today, and I might have idea what happened here regarding the situation. So once we get our drinks, I will clue you in.
I am so sorry to hear about your rough day. Have you tried meditation?
I will say this once only. Do I look like I would meditate?
Yes.
Alara giggles again.
As
Right.
He finds Flanagan very entertaining.
as you guys are sitting here, having this conversation amongst each other, Flanagan, the Minotaur gentleman next to you, or next to the group, who you've sort of surrounded this gentleman, he sort of extends his hand out towards you, and this hand, you can see it looks like it's very worn. He's clearly been places, as before you stands this hulking gentleman. He stands up to introduce himself, and he's, to be honest, he's about 6'3", 6'4", so he's not massive for a Minotaur, but he is, far bigger than you, and he extends a hand down to you, and he says to you, pleasure to meet you. I am Croc, the Battle-Worn, member of the Coalition of Three Cities.
Ooh. Greeting there, Croc. My name's Flanagan of Thistlewick, and this here, Alfonso. Pleasure to meet you. Where are we? I just overheard, was it Arlen said something about a Golden Mist Valleys. I'm not familiar with the place myself, you see.
I've been here some time, and it turns out we are in Verdantara, which is a place I'm unfamiliar with, having been stationed down in Brimbleborough, much among yourselves, the halfling people. How is it you arrived here? Because I don't even know how to describe it, but I'm suddenly here. One moment I wasn't, and then I was.
Oh, did you get one of those fancy pamphlets? You know, the ones that you touch and poof.
Pamphlets? No.
Oh, hey, one of these.
As you pull out the page, I would say that he looks at you with a very puzzled look, and he pulls out from behind him, sort of his satchel, he pulls out this leather-bound book with a sort of, it's brown leather, and it's got like a leather strap across it with a buckle on the front, but right in the center of the leather-bound book is this purple gem, and he sort of places it on the table with a big sort of, and puts it down. You see all the dust come off it, and goes, well, I came across this book in one of the museums down near Brimbleborough. I was searching something on behalf of the Coalition regarding a unforeseen, mission particulars I shouldn't share. However, this book is missing pages. When I touched it, I was here, and I don't know, there's a total of 7 missing pages, and have each of you grabbed a page? Do you all have a page? Is that how you're here?
That would seem like it.
Right.
Oh, aye, yes, aye.
I have my here.
Oh.
Unfortunately, yes.
Alfonso didn't get one, but apparently he's here anyway.
Right. Well, this is the book, as he opens it out. He opens it out to you, and you can see that it's a completely blank book. All of the pages, as he sort of flips through them to find the torn ones, they're blank. There's nothing on them. It's completely blank pages. The pages themselves have a sort of yellowish tinge to them. This is clearly an older book. It looks almost worn and torn in some places. And he says to you, I can't make any sense of this. I don't know what it is. I don't know why we're here. But I do know that there are 7 missing pages. If there was a way to restore them, what do they say, these pages? What do they say?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't read mine.
Let me look at them, my dear. And I'll move over.
Can I ask, is anyone doing anything else before you all look at the pages? Is anyone doing anything else at this stage whilst this conversation is
I was
happening?
moving drinks from the bar over to the big table, but that's it.
Okay, so you sort of want to position yourself.
We could all sit in a circle.
Okay, do you position yourself to the table?
Yeah.
Bartender is done.
Bring everyone over? Do you invite everyone over, or how? Do you sit at the table by yourself, or what happens?
Well, I've been carrying plenty of glasses over, so it was an open invitation to our group.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's all sit down around this big one here. That the lady is lady the green one with a sword over there. Let's sit with her, and then what the fuck is she? Hello there. My name is Flanagan Thistlewick. And I extend a hand to Karuf, who I have no idea who the hell it is or what she is.
She'll smirk a bit, and she'll grab your hand in a very firm handshake. I am Karut, Blade of Zikara. It's nice to get acquainted.
My apologies. I've never had a bereavement case before, but look, my heart goes out to you.
Never mind.
Alara giggles again.
Perfect.
Clara also doesn't sit down. She remains standing.
Okay,
And
so you're
leans against the wall partition there.
perfect. So you're sort of leaning against the wall, but within earshot of this table. You guys are sort of more private now. You've got your own thing. I would say that other people in the tavern probably, like, you don't see them alarmed by it, but a few of them are sort of moving around doing their things. Maybe a couple are leaving, a couple are coming in. You know, there's things happening basically as you sort of move around. Yeah, and I would say that at this time, you know, you're all sitting around the table. You've all got a pint in your hand, courtesy of Caruth. And it's at this point where I'm going to ask each of you who pulls out a page to roll a number for me. Can I please have the first person? Let's start with Sienna. Sienna, can I ask you to roll 1d7 for me, please?
What a number.
It's a good number.
Wow, a 1.
You've rolled a 1, so I will just attach this to you. I will provide you this handout. Bear with me. This is for Lady Sienna. Perfect. Sienna, you should now have in your inventory a handout that you can see. Please let me know if you have that available to you.
Yes,
Perfect.
I do.
Next, we will go with, you know what, let's do Drakenthal next. Drakenthal, please, can I have a number, a d6, please?
Yeah.
A 6, perfect.
6.
Tim, can I kindly ask you to roll sorry, Bramble, please, can you kindly roll for me a 1d5, please?
Sure, let's see if it works. It didn't. What was the command? It was like
/R and then 1d5.
with a space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot the space.
You're all good?
A 1 as well.
Wow, okay, cool. Perfect. Oh, I would then say, let me just adjust this to you. So this is for Mr. Bramble here. Next, we would have Flanagan. You look at this page in front of you. Can I ask for a 1d4 from you, please?
I got a 1.
Wow,
Oh my
okay.
lord.
Can I please ask next for, who haven't we done? Caruth. For Flanagan.
Oh, it's another one.
Wow, okay. And now we are on to, is it 2? Is this
2 remaining, yeah.
Caruth? I'll let you decide between yourselves who pulls it out first.
You go, Rez. You go.
I'm happy to go, but I do have a question.
You can ask a
I had
question.
the Minotaur said that they couldn't read the book.
Mm-hmm.
I have a spell for that.
Okay.
And
I would say
does
that,
it look like there is writing there that could be read, or is there nothing there?
I would say that upon looking at the pages, there is not a word or any drawing or any marking whatsoever. It is just blank page
Okay.
on every page.
Cool. I will pick out another page then. The 2. I won't pick a 1. I'll pick a 2.
Okay. Cool. So you are on 2, and that leaves the last one to you, Gamma.
Before I give him this paper, can I roll an insight to see if this guy is like, I don't know, does he know what he's talking about? Is this actually true that he went through this, or is there
Well,
possibly some sort of...
I will say you can roll it. You can definitely do an insight check to see if what he seems to be telling you is correct or true.
Yeah.
But at the
I just wanna see
moment,
if he's hiding
what
something.
you are doing is basically just
18.
showing. Who am I missing? Clara, have you got a page yet?
I've got I was page 2, so he picked out when it was the final 2. He picked out the 1. I picked out the 2.
I think you now have a page in your handouts.
Oh, sorry.
Cool. So,
Yeah.
all of you now have a handout to your page, and as you look at it, I would say that each of you can see in front of you the letters and words and sort of inscriptions on the page as you open them out in front of you. Would you like to describe to the others what you see as you look at the page?
I see a piece of paper that has an origami bird in the middle of it, and some writing, which Clara will read out as, "By my hands I take new form, shaped and bent, yet never torn. Align my edges, and I am reborn."
Cool. Yep.
Okay, well, I have a piece of paper that says, "Life flows where I am given, yet drowns where I am taken. I carve through mountains, yet vanish in the sun. A simple touch, and I reveal what's begun." Well, that's clearly water. So, I don't know. Does anyone have any water for me? Maybe I need to pour some over this sheet, and some mysterious thing will happen.
I do. And I pull out my water skin. Here.
Okay.
I pour a little bit of water over my little.
Oh, that
piece
was the
of paper.
liquor. That was the liquor. And then I get the water skin out.
Okay, so you poured liquor on this paper.
And I bet nothing happened.
Nothing happens. You now have a slightly
Water,
damp
you-
piece of paper.
Water, you imbecile.
Sorry, I've got two the exact same, and I always get them a little confused. Look, here's the water. Here's the water.
Clara giggles.
Well, it's already wet now.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, never mind. Carry
So-
on.
So do you pour the water on it, or?
Well, I have to. Well, yeah, why not?
Okay, because I wasn't sure if you did or didn't after pouring the liquor on this piece of paper that's now damp.
It's probably even more damp.
Okay, so I would say that as you pour the water on it, it seems to just fizzle, almost like you've set fire to all the edges and disappears. It sort of closes in on itself and goes from the edges inwards, and then just all you have left is like a little smoke that comes out of it, out of the air. What I would say is, can I have a perception check, please, from let's see, Flanagan, please, can I have a perception check from you?
That's amazing. Perception. Now I should be good at this. 23?
With a 23, you notice as you're doing this, as you're the closest to Brock, the Minotaur with the book, you notice that one of the pages sort of restores itself and appears within the book.
Oh, that's real clever. Look. And I just start blowing on mine because there's just a picture of wind on it. So I just start blowing on the piece of paper.
So as your page has just a wind sort of sigil on it, like almost looks like a gust of wind. You blow on it, and surely enough, it dissipates and appears back in the book.
Oh, that was clever. That was. You're a clever one. You are.
Clara will start to fold hers into the origami bird that she sees.
As soon as you fold your page, it just once over, it fizzles and appears in the book in front of you.
These have a tendency to cause things to disappear, don't they?
Well, mine says, "I'm hidden in darkness, yet banish the night. A single touch, and I reveal what is right." call upon me and your path shines bright. And there's like symbol that kind of looks like a sun.
Oh, so like maybe light. You got a candle?
Kalara
I'm
will-
not sure I want to try that.
Kalara will cast light.
Clara casts light towards the page.
Ah,
Yes.
As you
On the
cast,
page.
as you cast this light, it's the page in Dracenthal's hands as he's sort of reading it just begins to fizzle and evaporate, and it appears in the book in front of you guys.
Thanks so much.
we got a bunch of clever cookies in this party here.
What are the rest of you doing with your pages? Those of you who still have these pages, watching all of these pages disappear and fizzle out. I would say that there's a smell of almost like lavender. It's not burnt. It's not like it's been burned. It's like a sweet scent that's come off it.
Anyone has a rock here
A rock.
on them? A rock? Some stone?
Maybe we can just go outside and get one.
Mine says, it has a picture of a rock on it, but it says, I am as old as time and strong as steel. Shifting slow, yet mountains I wield. Hold me firm and truth I reveal.
May I?
It must be a rock.
May I barge in here and say, are we sure we want to do this?
Yeah.
I don't think you guys have ever seen a book that just has pages disappearing and magically reappearing back. I don't
But then
suppose
the
you guys
question
are.
remains: have you, my friend?
I've seen things that don't really add up, and I've dealt with things that I would call very things we could do, per se. And I think this book is not something we should all dabble in unless, we all agree to take a part in it.
Well, what else you want to do? We're here now.
Well, there's a museum this man said he found the book in. We could have found more information about what the book was from, who wrote the book, who owned the book, things of that nature, before we just dabble in what could be a big
Well,
problem.
Oh, it's just a bit of
Personally, I have
mindless
no clue.
whimsy.
And also,
where's the fun in that there, Master Owlin?
Didn't this green-skinned lady say she has information of why we're here, and maybe we should have heard her out on the information before we just do things with paper we have no idea what it does?
Master
Did you say
Owlin,
that?
I believe that's what you were referred to. Master Owlin,
Damn.
I implore you, we are here in an area known as Meadowshade, part of Verdantara. The museum of which I found this book is over 9 months away by travel. It is, for us to travel there would take 9 months.
And what do you know about this book?
I know that it was in a museum.
I did roll an insight. Did I get anything off this dude when I incited him?
You did roll an insight. You rolled an 18.
Yeah.
From what you can tell, everything he's told you so far is factual, is truthful, including what I've just said.
Does it seem like he's hiding something? Like, does it look like he knows something that he's not letting on, or?
I would say you're not 100% sure with an 18. However, you're pretty confident that this guy is, as he says. He doesn't appear to be hiding anything from you.
Master Gammer, if it makes you feel any better, sir, I'm a member of the Coalition, and so is this gentleman here. I trust him with my life.
That actually was a good point. What is your rank? Flanagan?
Me?
Your rank within the Coalition. What was
Oh,
your...
I'm a Coalition Guardian. Alfonso is a veteran.
He looks to the Owlin, and then he looks back to you. Sir, as he looks to Alfonso, sort of bows. You get the impression, knowing the ranking system, Alfonso's a veteran, he's just above you. Croc is clearly on your level. You guys are both guards, whereas Alfonso's actually outranks you. And I would say that as Croc sort of bows to the Owlin sort of nods back as well, as you all see just Alfonso sort of turn his head, nod, and then put his face straight back into the bowl of beer that he was drinking.
As,
I think
as
Gamma
they
is
do all
just
that,
looking.
can I kind of recall if I know anything about the coalition? where
You
I
can,
started?
yeah. You can roll. You can roll for me a history check. I
50.
will- With a 50, bear with me. 15, you have. Ooh, this is. Let me just open it up here. I've got it written down. I would say that you know a fair bit of the coalition, especially as your time as a mercenary. You have come across them. You are very much a sort of not a thieves guild, but a lot of the sort of free fighters who don't have a home, who leave their original places, would have banded together as sort of a brotherhood that travels the lands. You would be aware that there are cities which have coalition. It's the coalition of free cities. These are cities who basically are protected by this faction who guards it and safe keeps it. You would also know, being a mercenary group that's often hired for sort of delivering parcels from one side of the continent to the other, and protecting it, this sort of caravan of trade. You would know that the coalition do similar things to that on behalf of sort of leadership of towns. So, for example, guilds in different cities may trade with one another, and often the coalition members will help that caravan get from point A to point B without any issues. So that's what you would know of them from your background, your history. But yeah, you would know that they're a good serving, positive force on the world. They mean well.
Cool.
Mr. Oh,
Will also kind of bow my head to the Alfonso.
You nod your head down as well. Alfonso sort of, as he catches you doing this, as he turns, so he turns his head to look at Croc and bows, and then as he goes to turn back, he catches you bow your head, and then puts his head back up and bows again, and he puts his face straight into this bowl of beer, and you can see that he's actually spilling some of the ale on the floor because the bowl is an awkward size. He can't quite get his beak into the bowl. It's sort of not flat enough for him to do that. It's more like a cereal bowl, or like a wider bowl would be much more fitting. Sorry, Kalara.
Clara looks towards Gamma, and says, "Mr. Gamma, is that correct?"
That is correct.
They say that fortune favors the brave, and fortune is indeed a very fragile mistress. We would do well to gain her favor. So, let's be brave and tell us what your page says.
Okay. I bind oath and seal fate. A part of you, a cost I take. One drop alone, and my tale awakes. What about that seems very inspiring to you?
Oh, you drew the short straw there.
I did.
Don't be a coward. Come on.
Only a drop would be
If he's
sufficient.
hesitating,
I think Gamma, like, when she calls him out, I think he just immediately pulls out a dagger and just, like, without even hesitating, just drives, and it might even go through. Like, that's just how much, like, he's been through some shit. This man does not give a fuck, and he just kind of drives it right in.
Okay,
So
so
unnecessary.
you pull out a dagger and you put it through your hand.
Yeah.
Can I get you
Oh,
to
you said
roll?
a drop.
Can I get you to roll a 1d4 for me, please?
Oh, I can, alright. See how much damage I take from fucking stabbing
Yeah.
myself.
Basically, yeah. You take
A
3 points of
3.
damage.
Yeah.
And as you do this, what are you doing with the page? Because you've currently got a dagger through your hand.
I will just pull the dagger out ever so, like, slowly to let the pain kind of sit there quite a bit, and then I'll let whatever, comes out of the wound just kind of
So the
fall
blood
to
sort of
the page.
drips onto the
Yeah.
page. As the first drops hit it, the page fizzles, and you see that the blood that was with it almost dissipates as well. It sort of goes up in flames almost, as another page is then magically restored in the book. As you can see that there's only a few pages left.
I've had a thought about your rocky one.
Go on.
Here, and he takes a boot off and he knocks some of the mud off the side. Maybe try some of the mud? Oh, I don't know if it's just mud, but you know.
She'll sort of have the paper flat so
Oh.
he can pour it onto the paper.
Okay, I just drop it like that. Like I hold it over and then drop it.
And she'll crumple it up and hold it tight.
The paper with the sort of
Sand inside,
and
or mud,
grit
rocks,
and dirt.
whatever.
As you do this, you feel a warmth in your hands. It begins to glow, and all of a sudden, it feels empty as you open your hands and you
This
see
is fun.
there's
This is
nothing there. There's no dirt. It doesn't even look like your hands have touched dirt at all. They're clean. And
This is
the
a
page is
neat
gone.
magic trick.
And the page is now restored into the book as well, as we have, I believe, one page remaining.
Don't do the next one until I got me boot on. I've just got to do me laces. As he like goes under the table, like to put his shoe back up.
No
Alara
worries,
giggles.
Just tell me when you're ready.
Through that one and there we go. As he hits his head off the table, standing up. He's like,
I think
Right.
Gamma
I'm ready.
real quickly would just pull out one of his handkerchiefs and just kind of wrap around his hand and tighten it.
I cast Cure Wounds on him.
Oh, that's very nice of you.
Right. This one should be fairly easy, so bear
The
with me.
fuck's this girl walking up to us? About to feed
I
him.
consume, yet I give warmth. Destroy, yet bring rebirth. My hunger is endless, but to light the way is my worth. We need fire. So, and I hold out the paper. I place my hand over it, and I close my eyes for like a full minute, going to full meditation.
Okay.
And in the end, nothing happens because I can't produce fire.
So you're just standing there with your hand out. Okay.
Yeah,
Flanagan's
everyone is
intently
waiting
watching
for
you,
something
like-
to happen, but nothing is
Now.
happening. And I'm opening my eyes like,
I'm starting to lose patience, and I'm sort of I wanna cast Burning Hands, so my hands have already sort of start to fizzle, and I'm like,
Oh my god!
do you want me to do it?
do I feel the warmth in my meditation?
What you feel with your hand out is a little bit of warmth from the table where there's a candle in the middle of the table. So yeah, you do feel the warmth of the candle. And on first notice, I don't know if you pick up that it's from the candle or if you think you're casting fire of some sort.
Oh no, I know I can't cast fire, but it was more like I'm trying to focus so hard that maybe it will combust spontaneously, and then I'll just put it in the fire.
Mm-hmm. So you put it into the...
Yeah, the candle, because I can feel the candle.
Okay, I would say that as you put it in, obviously it lights up, but rather than as if it's catching fire, as soon as the flames flicker against it, the page fizzles magically with like a sort of purple glow into the center, and it restores into the book. It's at this point where you guys just see the book itself slam shut and falls to its side again. What do you do? Croc looks at you all like, I've never seen it do that before.
Oh, we've solved a book of riddles, so can we go home now?
I would say that whilst this is happening,
Maybe someone checked the book.
very quickly before this happens, you notice, Flanagan, that Alfonso, and I think you pick it up with your passive perception more than the others, you pick up that Alfonso appears to be cooing, as if he's, like he's enjoying himself. And you can see that his head is turned, and behind him, from the other side, there's a lady of sorts sort of stroking him.
Oh, not her again. And Flanagan rushes off towards Alfonso to find out what the hell he's doing.
So you run around to go see Alfonso.
He just hears like as
Yeah.
he's like his little feet scurrying across the wood.
Cool. And as you get there, you see before you stands a very sort of very pristine cut haircut blonde elven lady with very pointy ears as she sort of like strokes the sort of scruff of Alfonso in a very soft voice. She just says, "He's lovely. What's his name then? What's his name?"
Well, he's not a pet, ma'am. He's on official guard duty. We can't be having that now, no.
And you hear Alfonso continues to coo. Pleasure to meet you, Flanagan.
I nudge him.
As you realize that she's communicating with Alfonso.
Oh, you can talk to him too.
Yes, of course. You are you're Flanagan, correct?
Aye.
Yeah, he's said the most wonderful things about you. You're his master servant, right?
Well, technically, I think the official term
He's
is
your
colleague.
boss.
You know.
But he says you're his boss, aren't you? And he goes, "Coo, coo," and sort of nods a little bit. You sort of you elbow Alfonso, and he sort of he's looking away from you, and he just and goes back to it. You know, he just gives you the death stare as if to say, like, technically, he's not wrong.
Look,
So,
okay, he is technically. You are right. Alfonso here is my superior, as he is that big gentleman's. As he points over to where Brock is. But Alfonso was put into my care.
yeah, I've never seen
Companions.
Right. Okay, you two are companions. It's quite an interesting couple. I must say, I've never seen an owlbear just appear in the center of town. What brings you here?
Oh,
And
you certainly get used to it. What brings us here? Well, funny thing is, we found a floating page, touched it, and boof! There I am in the middle of a meadow. Can you believe it? Found ourselves a nice little tavern. This nice group of lads and ladies and other peoples. Well, we're having a great time so far. But did you find a page?
a page? No,
Don't know if you'll be allowed in the club.
I'm a resident of Meadowshade. Well, nearby Meadowshade. I must say that's awfully strange. And as you're saying this, she's clocked on to the rest of the group. The rest of you can see her as she sort of steps to the side. She can see the book on the table, and I imagine she heard the sort of thump. So, what exactly is that you have there? What do you mean by page?
Like I said a moment ago, part of the coalition. Very important business, I'm afraid, Mom. So I'm going to need you to step back just a little bit and let us conduct our proper investigations.
Of course. And my name's Vanessa. If you need me, I'll be at the
Vanessa?
bar.
Here. Take a silver. Buy yourself a water or whatever they serve here. I'm not quite sure. Maybe I'll come approach you afterwards. By all means, if you wish to keep Alfonso company, you may do so in the meantime. But like I said, we've got some official business to take care of. Okay?
I'll let you all finish your drinks. Sorry to interrupt. And she steps to the bar and sits down. And you can see that Arlen hasn't even taken anything off of her. He's just handed a glass of water to her as she does. So you head back to the table. And with the rest of you, I would say that whilst this is all happening, you're talking amongst yourselves. Has anyone said anything or done anything whilst Flanagan's been away?
Well, when the book closes, I would either reach over to the book or just, I guess, ask, like, has anything changed in the book? Can you open it?
I can, by all means, we can open it. Should we do that? I've never seen it move like that before. Is everybody on board?
Yeah, why not?
I haven't seen books move in general, but this seems interesting.
Okay, and he unbuckles the book.
We started it now.
The buckle has closed as well when it was sealed. And he opens up the book, and immediately, as he sort of opens a random page, you can see that there's a sort of ethereal purple glow coming off the pages, but there's no words. It's still blank, but he opens it up, and you can all see this sort of faint glow coming from it. So
Does it look anything like the glow that comes from my skin at all?
You can definitely, if you want to do, I would say, you know what, I would say, because it's your skin and you would know your skin, I would say that you know that it's not the same. Cool. You just recognize the color is sort of purple in nature. It looks, to be honest, for all of you, this doesn't look that familiar. It's a different source of magic. It's not something you're familiar with. What I will say is that for those of you closest who can actually see the pages in front of you, as he sort of pushes the book into the middle of the table for you all to see, you can see that it begins to have sentences forming. It seems as if it's almost writing itself as the book lies open on the table. I will say at this point, Flanagan's returned, so you're now here with the.
What did I miss?
As you see in front of you, Flanagan, the book has this sort of you can almost hear the writing as the letters sort of begin to form, and it's all in cursive.
Flanagan,
Can any of us read it?
should I describe it for you, or would you like a box?
Oh, if you've got a box, that'd be great.
There's also a
Save me
lot of
stretching.
chairs around you, so it's there's a bench.
Well, anyone like more familiar with magic out of you guys? Like I'm more of a ball and shield.
Well,
I'm
I'm familiar with magic and with ink, so.
I would say that, Caruth, you can see that there are words there, and you can read them. It's in common, so you guys can actually see what it says. So yeah.
What does it say?
As you guys look
Can
at
we
it,
just
as you guys look at it, the words begin to sort of write in cursive, and it comes down to read basically, through the veil of moon's light, where silence calls no name. The roots entwine and wait, forgotten by time. Within water's grasp, the key remains. Seek the guardian's test of the forest before the last spire is reclaimed.
You have that on a handout by any chance?
I will put
Yeah,
it into the chat for you. Yes, because you can see it. I will put it into chat for you, so you guys can see what it says.
Cheers,
Now-
bro.
I appreciate that all of you say this in your head, but for those that can't see, someone want to read it aloud?
Of course, Flanagan. Bear with me on the slightest of seconds whilst I just gather my memories together.
Oh, strange one you are.
So
I-
I'll repeat
I
it for the
am.
group, or actually you can, because you're going to read it to Flanagan, so I'll allow you to do
Okay.
so.
Through the veil of the moon's light, where silence calls no name, the roots entwine and wait, forgotten by time. Within water's grasp, the key remains. Seek the forest guardian's test before the last spire is reclaimed.
Well, what the bloody hell does that mean?
Well, I would imagine it probably has something to do with the forest that's nearby.
Oh,
The one that's just outside that we noticed on the way in.
oh.
And
No, I'm-
what the hell are the spires?
I'd hazard a guess there's water there and all, because that's what it said in that poem.
I actually found my page in water.
Oh, you didn't mention that before.
Well, did anyone mention where they found their page?
Mine was floating in the sky. Odd.
Mine was stuck on the tree stump.
Almost like
I guess
roots,
I was in
maybe?
a spire.
You were in a spire.
Tower.
Oh my. Wait. Gammer, where was yours?
I think Gamma doesn't say anything. You kind of see him just like, he seems like he doesn't want to say it.
Oh, come on.
Gamma, what's
Share.
wrong?
Share the load.
Can we all share it?
Mine was found in a graveyard in a coffin.
What the bloody hell were you doing in a graveyard?
You grave
I'm looking for something.
Well, that would be where silence calls no name.
Oh my word! God, tell you what, some of you are smart, aren't you?
It seems like someone has picked us for a sort of quest.
Yeah, we
I don't
clearly
know.
been
I
much
was just
better.
I was just meditating in a stone circle, and then I thought I hit Rufus the squirrel near me, and then I was hit by this paper, and I tried to read it, and then I was here.
Are you the forest guardian?
Can I do
Clara
a
giggles.
No, I'm not gonna do a history check on that.
Flanagan's jaw just drops and he's just staring.
Jeez.
The curious lady is back.
I
Maybe
will
she
ask
Bugger off.
Dragon, whatever his name is, if he
knows.
knows where
Get you going.
this test possibly could be, or even if there's like a spire nearby in a forest somewhere.
You mean the Minotaur guy, or?
Yeah, the guy who's with us, the guy who's been doing all this, who made us put pages in a
the
freaking
Minotaur.
book.
The Minotaur.
Yeah,
The
was
Minotaur,
I don't know
but
his
not
name. I
a
don't remember his
dragon.
name.
Yeah, the Minotaur.
I did say
Not a dragon guy.
Brock the Minotaur. The
Brock,
Brock
yeah.
The first gym leader.
Brock,
Yeah.
Brock the Minotaur. Well, I suppose it's only fitting that I share what I found when I picked up this leather-bound book. I was in a museum, you see, and it spoke of a tower of Verdantara, a tower. The exhibit said something. I can't recall quite what it was, but it spoke of returning to the tower or something along those lines. But I don't know of the area that well, to be honest. It's not really my forte. I don't know it.
I, as a
Many
player,
towers?
have
Yeah.
I as a player have forgotten, but for Karuth it would have been an hour ago. Where was the tower that I was at?
You were in the Starlight Spires, which is in Astralos on a different continent.
Okay. Big words. I repeat them to the party. That's where I was.
Astralos? That's a whole different continent.
Wait, what
couldn't-
continent are we on now?
We're on Veritstra. This is home of the elves and the dwarves. I haven't even been to Astralos. You've come far. Gosh, what else was there?
Would this tower that I came from have anything in common with other towers on this continent?
I mean, there's a whole area in Astralos known for its towers, but this was specifically the Spire of Verdantara. It stands alone. It's a wizard tower. It's long abandoned, or the family Whisperwinds, I believe it was. They were supposed to be the owners of the tower, the spire, whatever it was.
All right.
Maybe
Let
one of the
me
locals might know.
Let me tell you what happened to me today. Because it may not be relevant at all, but for some reason there seems to be somewhat of a resemblance. Today, on a different continent, my day started off as any mercenaries would, and we took up a quest from these mages in this tower. They were having some kind of problem with rifts opening up in the area and other creatures coming through them. We were asked to go retrieve an item that was taken from them that was causing this. And it turned out that the person who took the item was actually related to one of the mages. We killed him. We got the item. Then he used to be my ally, but now he's not. My companion took the item and ran away with it to God knows where. But anyway, this item is now gone. Rifts they were open. We closed them. God knows where it's gone now. Maybe somebody else has got their hands on it.
Sorry, did you say rifts were
That's-
opening? You don't mean
Oh,
like
we
a
could-
convergence, surely. Rifts to where?
Monster creatures. I don't know. Hells, abyssal stuff, maybe. I don't know.
The
We,
hell? My God.
I don't know. They were abomination, weird monsters. We fought them, but
It sounds just like the Convergence. He looks to you, Flanagan. We must report this.
Oh, I think it's a bit above my pay grade. Alfonso can brief them on this one.
As you see Brock get up and go, thank you for letting me know. Please keep the book. As he then begins to leave the tavern in quite a rush. Does anyone say anything before he leaves?
Where are you bloody going?
Gamma would. Ah, man. Gamma would yell out for him. He's like, "Where are you going?"
What's? I must report this to the coalition immediately.
Isn't that 9 months' travel to get
No,
done?
one of the closest cities would be Sylvanthal, but they're a member state. I can travel there by foot. He goes outside, unless anyone says anything. He's gonna keep going.
Any idea where this, where the hell we are? Where Meadowshade is in correspondence to Sylvanthal? How long's that going to take him? Do you think?
It's 3 or 4. It's a couple of days, but
he's still there.
must go. And he continues out. He's looking back at you as he's rushing out the door, and he leaves the tavern.
Vanessa. That was the girl's name, wasn't it?
Yes, that was the girl's name. You call her over?
Yeah, I don't suppose you wouldn't mind joining us, would you, dearest?
She looks at you quite nervously, because she introduced herself to Flanagan and Alfonso. I guess you were close enough to hear this, but she hasn't actually met you. So she goes, sorry?
Hello, my love. My name's Clara. What an absolute pleasure to meet you. I just overheard your conversation before with our good friend Flanagan. I was wondering, you're local here, yes?
Yes, kind of. I live near the forest.
Well, you see, our friend Brock, who was in such a hurry just now, he mentioned something before he left that one of the locals might be able to help with, and you seem like such an intelligent young lady. It would be fantastic if you could help us with this. A family Whisperwind, if you've ever heard of them.
Whisperwind? Yes, there's Whisperwind Tower, not far from here.
I don't suppose you know the way, do you?
I do, but yeah, I mean, it's hard to miss. And it's at this point where you see the door open, you hear the jingle of the bell as the door slams behind him, as Brock returns back inside and walks over to you guys.
That was quick.
Everyone,
Impressive.
I stood outside and there was a tower within. You can see it from the door. It's just across the meadow. There's a tower.
It's quite stunning that we missed it when we were looking around outside.
I can tell you now, there weren't no bloody tower out there when I was out there. I can tell you that for a fact.
That would be the Whisperwind Tower, but as you see Vanessa look upon the book in front of you, she's reading the words, through the veil of the moon's light where silence calls no name. This is the prophet.
A prophecy.
Do you?
Speak
What
up,
brings you here?
please.
Whose book is this?
That's a very good question that I think we're all really looking to answer.
It's speaking of. No. You should burn it.
You'll get it out.
You should burn it.
I beg your
Why?
pardon.
Can I make an
Yeah.
insight check?
You can
We
make an
tried
insight
that.
check. Yeah, you can make an insight check. Go for it. She,
Am I good?
as you
Yes,
look
I'm
at her,
okay.
she with a 6. She's not really
Oh,
hiding very
I
well.
rolled a natural 1. What are these rolls,
Yeah.
bro?
You look at. You can tell she's not comfortable being around this book, and her eyes widened as she read the sort of text that's on it. She doesn't look very comfortable, and she's urging you to burn it.
Can I kind of squeeze in? Can I kind of move Brock out the way a little bit here
Yeah.
and just squeeze in next to the girl, and just kind of say, "There's nothing to worry about, my dear. If anything, we're here to stop whatever badness could arise from this book, but we wouldn't be able to do that without your help. Are you okay with being a brave little lady and helping us here? Can I roll persuasion?
You can roll persuasion. I will allow you to roll persuasion. Yes.
Can I please roll higher than a 6 for the first time this evening? Please. No, I can't. I rolled 2 natural ones in a row. What the hell is going on?
She looks at you. She's not very convinced. She can tell that you're trying to keep her here, and she's starting to feel very uncomfortable. As you can see, she's trying to find a way past you.
Ma'am,
I'll move out the way. I'll move out
We
the
ain't
way.
going anywhere, Missy. We need to know some questions.
Ma'am, I understand this is stressful. It must be very frightening to you. But I think it's in the best interest that we understand what is going on here, and all the information you have could be very helpful in us figuring things out and knowing where to go from here. So if you may give us at least a little bit of information.
Can I have a persuasion check from you, please?
I would just also like that. I'm also on your side that we should just burn the book and get rid of it. No persuasion.
Oh, what the
God.
With a natural 20, as you say you're also on her side and want to burn the book, she's convinced that you have good intentions. You can see that there's an ease. She was a bit like a rat in a cage a minute ago and very unsettled with everyone around her looking at her. But you've definitely brought ease to her, and she sort of drops her guard a bit and says to you, It's about the forgotten altar. The altar of the forest. The altar lies hidden beneath the roots of an ancient tree, and it's deep within the enchanted grove of the nearby forest. But I must warn you that the Forest Guardian's test is... It's not easy. You'll have to prove yourselves. At this moment, the book, you can all see the words sort of disappear. And what appears is... it looks almost like handwriting. It's been just crudely drawn in. It says, bring it to Whisperwind Tower. And it's at this point where I think we should take a quick break. Okay, we're back. So that's our break. We're back. Let's see. We ended off, you guys had just seen on the book after Vanessa had read the pages for you. She then saw that on the book it says, find it. Bring it to Whisperwind Tower. I might not have mentioned find it before. It was just bring it to Whisperwind Tower. But you see above it in big, almost bold text, it says find it. What do you do?
Can I insight check the text? I know this is really obscure, but I'm just wondering, like, is the text like in a threatening font, or is it like is it papyrus or Comic Sans? Like, what's the vibe I'm getting here?
As you look at it, it's clearly handwritten. It doesn't
Cool.
look like, it's not like scrawled on a page. It actually looks quite eloquent. It's like got the cursive sort of look to it. It's very clear to read, but also has an elegance to it as you look at it. That's sort of what you would see.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying I can't insight the text?
You can't. Well, you can insight the book. I mean, you can't really insight.
Can I
the text.
roll a
You wouldn't be able
history
to read
check
it.
on it? Because
This is what I'm going to roll my nat 20.
You can definitely roll a history check. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a wizard. I'm from around these parts. I should know a little bit about it.
Yeah, I will say that going to Kalara with the insight check at 19, trying to insight whether the book's text. What are you trying to decipher here?
I'm just trying to decipher whether the book is from the way that it's using its language, is the book kind of seeming like it's trying to force us down this path in a rather evil way, or is this book, just very neutral and just following an order to get it back?
I'd say
Is there maybe some emotion behind this that could be coming from a nefarious source?
It's very hard to read because it's basically just a text that says in front of you, find it, bring it to Whisperwind Tower. And I would say it hasn't ordered you to do so. That's sort of the page. You would, with a 19, I wouldn't say you'd be able to insight whether there's any sinister or positive emotions behind it, because there isn't really any emotion around the text. I would say that it hasn't come across rude. It hasn't come across demanding. It's almost more like guiding at this stage. But that's about all you get from it. There's no sort of emotion behind it. Sorry, yes. And then we had Lady Sienna with her history check with a 16. Having been around the area, especially into the capital city, I would say Sienna has been to the city multiple times. That's not a million miles away from here. You would know that the book itself, you don't know anything about. What you do know of sort of the Whisperwind Tower is that it's quite a sort of conduit for magic. There's said to be a sort of a lot of magical energy in that part of Verdantara. And you would know that it's not far from Meadowshade because you've probably been through here as well.
I'll relay that to the group.
Cool. So you tell everybody else, and everyone else, you now know that this is quite a magical place. This tower is seen as sort of a magical conduit area where magical energy is very rampant. It is, that kind of area. So yeah, basically the last thing that you guys would have said before, or the last thing you would have been told before the break, was that Vanessa said to you, the forgotten altar lies hidden beneath the roots of an ancient tree deep in the enchanted grove. The guardians, they guard the altar. The forest guardians test. It won't be easy, if that's what you seek, but I know where to find it.
Who are the Whisperwinds?
The Whisperwinds? Well, they're very powerful sorcerers. Lord Whisperwind often frequents Sylvanthal City. He's an esteemed wizard, sorcerer. He's very powerful. But that book, that emanates all sorts of energy that I'm unfamiliar with. As you can see, that I would say of all of you, Bramble, you, especially being closer to her, you probably feel that she, like yourself, has a big affinity for nature and the elements. She's obviously close to it in some way. You're not sure if she's a druid or if she's a monk. She doesn't appear to be wearing any like her dress it looks very natural in its sort of attire. It's woven together through very natural silks, etc. So what do you guys do?
As an oath of...
Croc actually is leaving, but again, no, because that was happening. Sorry, go on.
As an Oath of the Ancients paladin, would I have any kind of knowledge of things like these forest guardian tests or anything? Would anything of similar have kind of come across in my studies or training?
You know what? I will need a history check. Or you could do religion. I'll let you do one or the other.
Which one of these has actually got a chance of working? Religion or... Yep, we'll go religion.
What do we got? A
Jesus,
23.
thank God.
Okay, with a 23. So I would say that once you've heard about a forgotten altar beneath the roots of an ancient tree in an enchanted grove, these kind of words, they're all very much telling you that this is obviously a place of some form of celestial energy. Being an Aasimar as well that you are, you would also probably have had that, oh, okay, it's enchanted in a forest that's clearly got some element of celestial energies or magics. I would say that the element of the forgotten altar for you screams. I mean, you were basically at an altar yourself when you were teleported here, so that this is probably linked in some way, shape, or form to one of the gods, or potentially whether it's prime or lesser. You feel that being in a forest with a 23, being in a forest, it's most likely going to be a god of either nature, healing, sunlight, moon, something along those lines, rather than, for example, misfortune, which you would know as your goddess, Azulara. I would say that's probably what you know.
I share that with the group, just so everyone's aware, and I share it with Vanessa as well. I'll look to see if I get any reaction from Vanessa sharing this, but
I would say once you say sort of relay that to Vanessa, she pauses. You can see that she's thinking about her response here. As a druid of Solara, I'm aware of such things, but I know that it's not hers. This forgotten altar, it's said to be older, more ancient, and it's beneath one of the ancient trees that were there before the groves existed. I must say, it's magic beyond... It's protected by these guardians, and I've not known anyone to return seeking anything from there. We are forbidden to go there unless we mean no ill will to the guardians, so I can show you where it is, but I can't stay.
Well, in that case, some has to be the first to come back from it. So we can just sit here all day, drink wine, beer, meditate, or we could go. Who's with me?
Master Bramble, we could do both. We could go there, come back, and have a great time.
I like how you think, Flanagan.
Alara giggles.
I agree with the big guy. Like, sounds like a grand quest. Sounds very ominous how we got here, but seems to be a reason. And why not just follow through? We had a good drink and can have a good drink after.
Okay, I can lead the way, but I do think you should burn the book, and I don't say that lightly. As she begins to step away.
It's a magic book, though, isn't it, Vanessa? Would burning it even affect it?
It's unnatural magic. There's something about that just isn't right, as she continues on.
But we do have a person in this group with affinity of magical books, haven't we? Like, Lady Sienna, can we burn a book?
I'll be outside, she says as she
we can burn a
stands.
book.
Well,
See,
can
no
you
worries.
burn a book of magic, just,
Pretty lady, did it feel to you as if the book was answering us? It seemed to have handwriting. Maybe somebody was listening and writing on a magic piece of paper somewhere.
Are you talking to me or are you talking to
you.
Vanessa?
No, she's outside.
Okay, can I roll an Arcana on it?
You can definitely roll an Arcana on it. Yes. Please go ahead and roll an Arcana. And
You're telling me there are books that people can write on from miles away? That's bloody genius.
And I'd like you
Magical.
to... Okay, with a 27,
Oh!
I need you to tell me what you're trying to discern from the book.
Everything.
Does it have a wireless Bluetooth connection from somewhere else?
Can I can I stream the new season of Dra? No.
Is it 5G?
No, if it's any, I mean, celestial energies. I mean, I know celestial energies because I closely work with them. But are they just that? Are they just energies, or is there any sort of spirit? Any sort of would something terrible happen if I were to burn it?
Okay. Interesting. I think with a 27, I would say that as you sort of look upon it and maybe you sort of try and feel the magical energy around it, you go into this expecting a celestial feeling, magic that you're familiar with, not only because of your heritage as a Celestar who lived, or ancestors lived, among the astral plane, but also as a powerful, or fairly powerful sorcerer. You know that this is, or sorry, wizard. You know that this is not celestial magic. You know that there's no sort of, it doesn't feel familiar to you. If anything, you try and feel, you go through all the magic that you know, all the magic you've encountered, all the magic types that you would know, from lightning magic to frost magic and fire magic. There's nothing here that feels familiar. This feels otherworldly. And one of the key things you mentioned was sort of the soul behind it. This feels absent in a way, as opposed to the light that you'd feel with radiance magic. This feels almost absent. It feels like it's the opposite in a way. It's almost like it's sucking in the energies around it. You can't quite tell what would happen if you did try and burn it, but you can tell that this is extremely powerful, this magic.
There's
and I would say
void.
that's what you have.
Yeah, void magic in this, but it's very powerful. I mean, we can burn it, definitely, but there might be repercussions in a way. It feels like an absence, like a void. There's a void in this. But if you, I mean, maybe we can put it to good use in a way if we study it more. I mean, if you'd rather follow the Elven Lady's advice and rather burn it, then by all means I can burn it.
What would you do?
Well, something with a power like that needs to be studied, no?
Oh, I don't know. I'm the worst person to ask. But you said void magic, right? Which voids usually mean like sort of like sucking in, right? Well, funny you should say that.
We got sucked in, right?
We got sucked into here, and when we put little bits of the elements on each bit of paper, it got sucked back into the book. We had fire magics, we had wind magics, we had blood magics, light magics, and origami magics, and I don't even know what that one is. I never heard that one before, but that one's crazy.
Lara giggles.
Let me try something real quick.
You know origami magic?
Can I? Okay, if your theory is correct, I want to use an acid splash on the book. See if it corrodes it away or absorbs the acid.
Okay, so you want to cast that on it?
Yeah.
Okay, as you create sort of an acid splash on it, it sort of seems to land on the pages, as it's open on the table in front of you. You can see the acid sort of lands on it, and it sort of begins to sizzle, and then just dissipates.
Well, this book may not be burned so easily afterwards.
I'm a
After all.
bloody genius.
I have a
Kalara...
quill. I want to try something.
Kalara...
Pulls out a quill.
Shove it, yeah.
Opens. Can I open the book, or is it like shut?
The book is open on the table.
Karut will write. Why do you hide behind the book, you coward?
As you do this, the page itself, the ink seems to sort of seep into the pages as you're writing, but the page seems to tear ever so slightly away from the book, and then the words disappear. And that's all that happens. It just disappears.
We might just keep it safe for now.
Kalara will check the book without saying anything further, but I think you know what I mean, Paddy.
Okay, Kalara will check the book. Okay. I guess as a paladin, would you use a religion or an arcana check here? I'll let you decide which one you want to use.
This would be an arcana check.
Okay, you're going to use arcana. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Please roll an arcana check. So with a 7,
Just a 7.
you don't really know much about this energy that you're feeling. What I would say is you felt something similar in the past. It does feel familiar, but you can't place where from.
I hate to be this guy when we're like recording this. So it doesn't feel necessarily familiar to that.
I would say with a 7, you don't know where it's coming from exactly, but it feels somewhat familiar.
Fuck it, I put the stone on the book.
You put the stone on the book.
Yes.
Okay, you pull out the stone from your bag, you put it on the book. I would say as you do that...
To let everyone know what I pull out from somewhere hidden in far underneath my robes. A 12-sided stone, light grey with polished granite with green indents in some form of unknown glyph or language. And the glyphs glow.
That's very interesting. Okay, as you place this 12-sided stone on the book, it begins to hiss, almost like a hot oil in a pan. It is hissing, and you can smell what smells like burnt pages, like a burnt sort of smell coming from the book. And you can see a light white smoke coming from the book itself. It's hissing, and the stone starts to seep through the book slightly. Do you do anything at this stage?
Lara will take the stone away and just say, well, and she'll put the stone hidden away back in her robes and just say, well, if we do want to burn the book, I think we might have a way.
So as you do that, I would say that you notice as you pull the stone up. Actually, can I have everybody roll a perception check for me?
22.
Okay,
19.
Everybody who rolled above a 17, which is... Okay, we had 12 from Flanagan, 16 from Lady Sienna, a 22 from Drakenthal, a 19 from Kalara, an 18 from Caruth, 19 from Bramble, and an 11 from Gamma. So I would say, aside from Gamma, Lady Sienna, and Flanagan, possibly because you can't see the book because you're not tall enough to look over the table, you basically will see that as Kalara picks the stone up, it looks as though something is being sucked into the stone. The glyphs glow slightly. They have like a flicker of purple, as this looks like it's taken some of the energy in some way, and the book itself has basically a dark black ring in the center where the stone was placed, which seems to slowly return back to the way it looked previously. But you put that stone away and you continue on. I would say that as you do that, you also feel a little bit of heat on the stone. Not so much that it would burn you, but enough that it's like it's got some temperature to it. At this point, you guys would hear the door as it's opened, as Vanessa pops her head through. It's starting to get dark. Would you guys like to make a move, or?
Of course. And Kalara
Yes.
will go with Vanessa.
Perfect.
That seems like an unusual love interest, but
Does anyone do anything as you?
Alright.
I'd say that Alfonso probably accidentally steps in his bowl as he's leaving. It's empty, or mostly empty, apart from the bit at the bottom he couldn't reach because he's only got a beak and it's like concave.
What was it made out of?
It would probably be like a sort of stone, a light stone.
I was gonna say if it was like ceramic or like a wooden one, it'd just shatter.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
like
okay.
it's probably like it probably would have shattered if it was full. Yeah, I imagine it would break. But yeah, okay. So all of you head on outside. I will now take you there. So you guys now stand outside, and as you look outside the tavern, you see past the town. To your left, you see hills of meadows, and right on the horizon, there's a little poke, a little sort of tower cap that you can see just the tip of the tower. Yeah, what you do notice is Brock is nowhere to be seen. Brock Croc, the Minotaur who was here earlier, he's obviously left in some way, shape, or form. And in front of you, you have Vanessa. Let me just open up the right scene. Okay, you've got, yes. So basically, once you guys then head over, you follow Vanessa basically through sort of a forest area. She takes you to the edge of the forest where you can see ahead of you, it's starting to get darker. Ignore the blue skies in the image. It's starting to get a bit darker, and you can feel the life of the forest just by being near it. You can feel the sort of the energy from the forest. It feels very alive. Vanessa looks to you all. I must say, this is... Although the forest itself means well, the creatures can be difficult. And we are here... I don't know what to expect up ahead. I'll lead you to the shrine, but not everybody's a fan of going near it, and I know they don't like having people there. Does anyone have any questions before we make a move?
They don't like people there?
Yeah, the forest sprites that protect the forest. The guardians.
How's everyone's vision at night? Is everyone able to see well, or?
I can't see a peep.
Oh well.
Pretty well at night.
In
I
that
see
case,
pretty well.
do you have any items that you're holding with you, Mr. Flanagan?
I got this hooded lantern I used to see in the dark.
Oh well, just so you don't use any fuel on it, I cast light on the hooded lantern.
Gosh.
Sorry, the music
like-
is
I
a
will
little bit
stick
intense.
to
Yes,
Flanagan.
He hooks it
Let's-
onto
Let's
hooks it onto
stick
the
out like
saddle
a
of Alfonso.
sore thumb in the night. Good job, guys.
Don't worry. Don't you worry about that. Me and Alfonso will sick him.
Right.
Clara pulls out both of her scimitars, spins them in her
question.
hand, and just like
I've been-
puts them back in.
I've been
Pull out an
thinking
arrow,
on
drop
this,
it, pull out another.
been thinking on this for a while, Mr. DM, because you've brought up some ideas. I knew a family that was heavily tied to Sylvana, where I'm from. Because I know the kids quite well of the champion of this god. Would I know one of them because one of them left to go do a sort of test trial for their druidic thing. Would I know they've been through here? Would I know the path they would have taken to get there? Would I know this area would have been like a stopping ground for them at some point?
You would know that So you've never heard of Meadowshade,
Yes.
but you would have
Okay.
heard of sort of Sylvanthal and of the druid groves of Solara and Luna, the goddesses of the moon. Basically, would be sort of who you knew, mainly goddess Luna, the goddess of the moon. You probably would have also heard of the goddess of Solara, but not known too much about her or what she represents, because that's not who they were affiliated with. So yeah, that's sort of what
Okay.
you would know. But you wouldn't know this
Okay.
area or this forest per se. You just know that this is the rough region that they would have been in.
That. Okay.
Mhm. So yeah,
Right.
Interesting.
Right, before we set off, a few little things I need to take care of. Everyone gather round. As he pulls out a little bowl, and he like swirls his hand around it, and you just see 10 berries conjure within the bowl that he's holding.
Mhm.
Now, these berries here, blooming good berries these are. I need each one of you to take one of these. If you see someone fallen unconscious, pop it in their mouth, let them have a little chew, and it'll get them right back up, alright?
Just to clarify, they're chewing whilst unconscious. Do we have to move their jaws for them, or...?
Correct. Did I stutter? No?
I was
Okay.
just clarifying, Mr. Flanagan.
That's okay, master. So here's
Master.
a good berry for you. And he'll divvy out one good berry per person so that you all have a emergency pick-me-up for a person other than yourself.
so you all have
Wait.
one good berry in your
It gives you
inventory.
one hit point.
It's
So
enough
if
to
someone's
bring you back.
unconscious, you can get someone back up.
Very nice.
Appreciate it.
Cool.
It's okay.
You can
I
all
get-
add
I
that
get-
to your sheets.
I gotta keep you free.
I was wondering, like, question to DM.
Mhm.
Does this count as a short rest?
Uh,
If we were in the tavern, does it
I would
count
say
as a
that
short
you
rest?
guys probably, when you got there, you should be fully rested because you haven't been in combat.
Yeah.
Well, I was wondering about my inspiring leader trait thing.
I would say
Yeah.
that you could probably use
Ooh.
that whilst you're I would say that you have a short rest. Yeah, you would have the benefits of
Oh.
a short rest whilst you were in the tavern.
In that case,
Yeah.
could I have just bonded with my weapon? It's an hour ritual, which you can do during a short rest.
You know what? I'll retcon it and say, sure. I'll allow
It's nothing
that.
special.
I'll allow that. You know what? Yeah, you
not have
weren't,
bonded with your
but
weapon before.
Hey, if it's a short rest,
No.
Did you bond with your weapon, like, during the day when you were at this other tower?
Nope. Last
We
time I did
didn't
one
really have
shot
time.
I didn't even think we were straight into the mission.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I didn't
You
have
know what?
time to
I'll
bond with
allow
anything.
it. I would say that you were doing it under the table whilst everything was happening. Why not? Sure.
Yeah,
Any-
under the table. Definitely not weird.
I'll be generous, but remember this for the future.
okay. If
he
it's
looked
short,
directly at the camera when he said that. Are we gonna call that out, or he looked directly?
if it's a short rest, I'd like to use my arcane recovery to recover my one spell slot.
Oh my gosh!
Anyhow,
I don't want y'all to know,
why I was
giving him-
asking,
I'd say you had a short rest before you left. When after Brock left and went out the second time, and you guys were investigating the book. Sure, Vanessa was out there for a really long time, so why not? Let's say you had a short rest.
Did solving the puzzle give us enough XP to level up?
Anyways,
Anyway,
without
what
further
was
ado,
the-
anything
get
else?
at-
Anything else people want to ask or do before you delve into the forest here?
From the
Camera's about to-
inspiring leader thing, everyone but me, so 6 people, the other 6 party members, will get 7 temporary hit points.
Oh,
Nice.
thank you.
For how
As
long?
we are heading out for
Oh.
this quests, and yeah.
I think
Does
it's,
that
Forever?
include me? Sorry.
yes, everybody
Yeah.
but Drakenthal gets
Not myself, so the other
7
6
hit points?
party members. 7 hit points, yeah.
Would you mind
the
sharing
level,
that feat in the chat so people can see?
level plus the wisdom modifier, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. So yeah, general feat, inspiring leader, ability score increase, increase maximum Bolstering performance. When you finish a short rest, you can give inspiring performance a speech, song, or dance. When you do so, choose up to 6 allies.
Nice.
Within 30 feet. The chosen creatures get temporary hit point equal to this. Character level plus modifier. Yeah, that's fine by me.
Now I really want to see him do the speech or the song.
Yeah, I kind of... Maybe we should
Or
check that
dance.
out. No.
Shit. Press the wrong button, ignore that.
He was trying to
Gamma.
do that, but yeah, he kind of only rambled over going on a quest and stuff.
Gamma, being able to see in the dark, you know, as long as he can see the moon, he's gonna pull out his sword and his shield, and he's just gonna start heading on in. He doesn't give a shit.
Okay,
Get
so you've got your sword and shield
going.
equipped. Cool.
Yep.
Now that we're actually ready to go, because we're doing all of this now, we are going to start walking into the forest. You guys, I would say that you can see the moon, but it's still light enough that it's not dark, you know? It's just become, it's like late dusk. Anyways, as you guys follow Vanessa, she says, okay, well, it's not too far, but we need to stay close, and I know the quickest route. We can either go the short route, which potentially could be dangerous, or I could take you the safer route, which would bring us there slightly later, but I don't think there's any rush, is there?
Do you need help making sure that we can remain hidden? Because I, Flanagan, have an ability to do such a thing.
What is it that you can do?
There's a little thing called wait there, my spell page isn't open. It is Parse
very
Without
good
a
at hiding.
Trace. Parse Without a Trace is a spell. If everyone keeps close to me, I can basically draw the shadows in to keep us hidden on we could go shorter, but under the cover of darkness.
What do you guys want to do?
shorter
sounds
route.
better.
I don't like the way he smirked about that.
Let's go short, and I'll use Parse Without a Trace, and that might give us the edge.
Can you
Okay.
Can you please share the pass without a trace?
Can. Second level spell slot. It lasts for 1 hour, I believe. Let me just double check.
While in the aura, so it's within 30 feet of you. Okay,
Yep.
yes, so you are kept, and you have a plus 10 bonus to dex. Okay, cool. So you have plus 10 bonus to stealth check.
The stealth, yes.
Alright, you guys are trying to go under the guise of darkness. You've got pass without a trace, which gives you a plus 10 to stealth checks. I'm still going to ask for a group stealth check now.
Yeah.
I will go from the 7 of you, please.
Lady Kalara, before we go, could you turn this bloody light off, because they'll see us? Thank you.
That's a 30.
That's a 9.
Mine's a
plus
32.
what
Wait,
you
but we
said?
have our plus 10, right?
That's a 30 with my plus 10.
Ah,
So 19, I guess.
21.
Okay, I would say
Oh, Alfonso as
Wow.
well.
you guys.
yeah.
Has
That
anybody?
plus 10 is really good.
Woo! 32 from Alfonso.
That's cool.
So the DC was 18, but I think everybody's got above it because of the plus 10.
Yeah.
Well,
Besides Sienna,
No.
right?
you guys follow Vanessa through the forest.
Except Lan.
Except for Lan, but like
Yeah.
it's a group
It's a
stealth
group.
check. So you guys, all of you have passed but one. That's 6 to 1. I would say that maybe Lady Sienna gets like she steps on a twig or something. People hear it, but don't actually see you guys as you're walking through the forest. You pass all manner of creatures. I would say that one of which is actually, ironically, an owlbear, which may or may not have been a good encounter for Alfonso. Alfonso probably hesitated about it. But you guys continue on through. You make it past, and you do find that Vanessa takes you all the way to the sort of altar area. So you guys arrive at what I can only describe as sort of a bit of like a river. You have a forested area with a river in the center. It breaks around an island that almost looks like there's an altar sitting in the middle of the island. As you arrive there, you feel around you the nature of the area is just filled with life. There's so much magical essence here. Sienna particularly, you feel, it's almost like you can feel it passing through you, as if the chill on a wind, it sort of passes through you, almost like life energy. You get chills, goosebumps as it passes through you. The energy is just almost overwhelmingly strong here. In the center of this island, you guys would see a stone altar. There doesn't appear to be anything special about it. I just want to check very quickly. When you left the tavern, who picked up the book? Because I don't think it was discussed.
I think nobody did.
Did you leave it on the tavern?
If the book was left there, then Kalara would have taken it.
Well, the
Well, you
magic
had the book in front of you,
taking
right?
it.
We will
Yeah.
say that Kalara picked up the book and the stone and has both separately in her bag somewhere. Cool. So you guys are now standing in this area. I would say that Bramble, you also feel just the life around you. The forest, it's almost like it's breathing. It's almost like it's alive itself. You feel every little willow on the trees. You feel every little leaf that's fallen to the floor of the forest. You feel the stones in the river as the water runs past them. You feel at one with this place. It's probably a great place for meditation. The altar looks particularly ancient as it sits beneath a very old looking tree. The roots around it almost appear like trees themselves, but at the top you can see they join as almost a massive tree sticking out above the tree line of the forest. What do you guys do? It's across sort of the river from you. There appears to be almost like a wooden pathway through.
Would I recognize the patterns on the
On the altar?
what I see from studies or meditation or recognition about other altars?
I would say I would need a perception check to see what you guys can see, and then I'd need to do another check to see what you can relate to. So
Yep, sure.
if anybody wants to try and see what's on this altar, what is perceived in front of you, please feel free to roll a perception check, and then I will tell you
Will do.
based on that.
Can I have my perception check more of the surrounding area in case there's like someone watching or something watching?
Yes, you can. Sure. Sure, why not?
Kalara's, while everyone's kind of looking around, Kalara's actually going to check the book to see if there's an update.
Okay, you're gonna have a look at the book.
Yeah. See if anything's changed in the book since we've come this far.
Okay, we'll come back to you in just a moment. Flanagan, with a 12, you look around the area. It seems peaceful. It seems serene. It does. You would know as a ranger, as someone who is keeping track, who has a passive perception of, I think it's 19. You would know, looking around you, that although it seems untouched, this area has had something go through it. Maybe it's squirrels or creatures of some sort, some ilk go around the place. It doesn't look completely untouched. I would say at this stage, Vanessa is staying where she is. She's planted herself. You notice that she doesn't want to get any closer to this. The next thing we'll do is we'll go into what you guys see. So we'll start with Bramble. Bramble, you got a 20 on perception. Drakenthal with a 17. Caruth with a 10. And Lady Sienna with a 19. I would say that probably...
I have a 24.
Oh, and sorry, Gamma 24 as well. I would say with that, anybody over 15, which is everybody aside from Caruth, you can see the stone in front of you. You can see markings on it. The only person who can make out anything that it says is actually probably going to be... You know what? It would be Bramble and Gamma. You guys can see the markings clearly with a 20 and 24. You can clearly see the markings on it are shaped in such a way. One has like what appears to be like a symbol of water, and the other has a symbol of earth. It's sort of like a rock symbol, and you would know this having come across similar things in the past. So that's sort of what you see. It's sort of split down the middle, and one side's water, one side's earth. With a 24 gamma, I would say that you can see at the base of the altar itself is a sort of stone that has something on it. Something's on there. It's glistening ever so slightly. It looks like something's been left there on the actual altar itself. And that's what you guys can see. Now we'll go to Kalara, who has pulled out the book. Kalara, you open up the book, you see the pages. It still says, find it, bring it to Whisperwind Tower. But now at the bottom, there's a dash, and it says TV. The initial is T.V.
I let everyone know that there's now initials at the bottom that say TV.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go up to the...
Vanessa know what they are?
Do you show it to Vanessa?
Yeah, I asked her if she knows who TV could be.
Vanessa looks at you, deadpan. I told you to burn it. I told you to burn it. You shouldn't have brought that here. We shouldn't even be here. I don't know who TV is. I don't know. But you shouldn't have that here. This is a holy place. You shouldn't bring that here. As she is visibly upset by this.
Can the rest of us hear this convo?
Yeah, you hear this.
Why?
It's unnatural. That
Why?
book, it's... There's something about it that isn't right. It doesn't feel natural. And she steps back.
While they're still having this conversation, I'm still walking up to go pick up whatever I see there.
I would
and
say...
I will grab whatever.
I would
and
say...
I will go
that,
with Gamma.
Okay, so some of you are starting to make your way. You're going to cross the bridge, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm going.
It's
I see
like,
something there that's different. I'm going.
It's like a stone more than a bridge, but you guys start walking towards it. And I will say that as you walk towards it, I'm going to ask each of you to please roll initiative.
Oh.
Actually, should we call it here?
Let's roll.
What I will do is I will take
We could
you...
roll and then end it, right?
I will take you to the next page so you can see what you're up against.
Holy shit.
Oh,
We
jeez.
now roll initiative, please, and I will set the music, and we will pick this up in the next episode. Yep.
Under the dice.
I'm gonna hide behind Alfonso.
Well, Bramble,
That's what I do.
Cool.
are you ready, buddy?
Can I please ask you all to roll initiative?
I wouldn't hide behind him too long though, because he normally runs off.
I rolled an 18, but do you want me to roll again so I'm on the tracker and you can put the 18 on there?
Yes, I will change it to an 18. So I will say that in front of you, you guys now see very clearly from the altar emerges a large water elemental creature. From the other side, the rocks behind the altar shift and shake as standing next to the altar is a large earth elemental. Around you, from beneath the bushes and the trees and the meadows and the flowers around you, sprites jump up and begin to flap their wings as they look to you unexpectedly. You've stumbled upon holy ground. These are their protectors. These are the guardians of the Forgotten Altar. And has everybody
I want to do
rolled?
one thing.
Yep.
When I roll initiative, I can swap my initiative with any person that I like, and I would like to swap it with Drakenfall so he can go first.
I can do it too, but thank you.
Oh, it's okay. So that way he can go up front. Because he rolled so low, so I'm ranged. I'm
Sure.
happy to go
I will
last.
change it, so 26 and 23 and 6.
23 and 6, yeah.
Cool. And do we have a roll for Alfonso as well?
He goes on my initiative.
Okay, cool. In
Yeah, so
that
that's
case,
easy.
I will tell you now that Vanessa will not be engaging in combat against these creatures. So it is the
Yeah, I figured.
the 7 of you. She adamantly will not test it. As she mentioned previously, she is forbidden from fighting these. So, Next time, we will pick up where we left off today with 2 elementals in front of you and, 6 sprites so far. So yeah, we will see how that goes when you guys come back, but I hope you enjoyed today's session. And yeah, good luck. That's all I can say. Good luck.
Yay.
Thank you.
Cool.
All right.
I'm sad that I won't be here next session.
Look, God!